Oh, dead up 6 o'clock. You had better get them up, get them going. It is B&E with you on a Wednesday already. Coming out of the 4th of July Independence Day weekend. Hope you had a great one. We are back at it and ready to roll. We would normally call this a Get Up Over the Hump Wednesday. Instead, it's a kind of feels like a good, bad, and ugly Monday. But hope you had a wonderful weekend. If you had 4 days off like we did, that is great. If you're back at it like we are, we're glad to be here with you and a lot to do. Busy weekend. We've got plenty of baseball, nearly $2 billion in new contracts in the NBA. We've got 1 week to Big 12 football media days. Counting down the clock to college football. Longhorns inside 60 days now to the start of their college football season with the Rice Owls. Big 12 Media Days 1 week from today up in Arlington, so a lot to look forward to there as well. A lot of news on the recruiting trail. Longhorns have been busy since July 1. Steve Sarkisian and company, Jimbo Fisher, and the Aggies also landing quite the haul as the recruiting season picks up steam on this Wednesday morning. 5 July, and a lot to do. Happy birthday to the United States of America yesterday. Hope you got to celebrate with friends and family, however you did. And you're back with us on this Wednesday morning to start it. Early bird always gets the worm. We appreciate you finding us, however you do. Could be on 104.9 on the FM dial. Could be 101.9 FM, AM 1260. Of course, we're always there for you digitally. If you're still on vacation or out and about, make sure you load up that Horn app and take us wherever you go. Listen wherever you are. It's so easy to do with a touch of a button. Also on your smart speaker at home and work. And always, Mr. Godbolt, great to see you, my friend.
Good to be back.
You can find us on our website, digitally streaming for you there. Also on the Twitch channel. If you want to watch the shows or this show, you can do so as well at hornfm.com. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning to you also. Good morning to the soldiers at Fort Cavazos, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you so very much for what you do. It is appreciated. I know it's hot. Please be careful out there. And thank you very much to all the birthday wishes. And yes, I'm a year older. I made it through another sensational year. I'm ready to just continue to move on. 68 years young and feeling good, feeling strong. And it is hot as a mother.
It is hot.
My gosh, I can't escape it.
It is muggy. It is warm.
Oh.
We've been kind of a respite from the triple-digit temps, it feels like, but hope everybody is doing good. And a couple texts in. Look who decided to show up for work today.
Right.
No, we took a couple days off, Monday and Tuesday. And you, of course, were off last week on your birthday week. And thanks to everybody that helped fill the gaps there with Ty Harrington and J.J. Gotch and, all of our folks who jumped in and helped us out through the week. But it's great to have you back. And
it's good to be
looking
back.
Great. Happy birthday to you. And, 68 is just a number. You know what I mean? 68 just
yeah, it's one away from 69.
That's right. You're almost to the best number in the book.
I'm getting there. I'm absolutely getting there. Yes, it's just weird. I told you I can't sleep past 6 o'clock. It doesn't matter what I do, whether it's a week off or when the weekend comes.
You can't even sleep in.
I can't sleep in. I don't.
I am able to do that actually. But
are you really? Can you go to about 7 something? But you don't go to 9, do you?
You know what I usually do because you
can't sleep. That's right. You got nobody at the house.
Well, I get up. Yeah, we're empty nesters now.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. Usually we'll stay up later because
that's true.
Because wife's off too and whatnot. So we stay up later, which keeps you up. But normally I do wake up. As normal, I gotta go to the bathroom usually early.
Around that time.
But I can crawl back in bed and go back to sleep. And sometimes I'll have to, at 7 o'clock, I'll have to jump on my phone and just look at things, and then I can roll back over and fall asleep for a while. But no, it is.
I wish I could. The rooster next door, all the animals next door, and all the mines that are jumping at the door and making all kinds of sounds. Get your ass up. You may be on vacation, but we're not. We have a meal to be served to us at a certain time.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to do it. And when I'm
pets don't take a day off.
They don't.
They need theirs, and no question about that. Ty Henderson is here as well, of course, through the glass, running the operation there. Ty, how was your extended weekend, my friend?
It was long.
Did you get some rest?
Not really.
No,
See,
come on. You're
that's what happens when you're young. That's what happens when you're young. You don't get any rest. You party on.
I rested yesterday for the most part, but the other days I had a lot of 4 a.m., 5 a.m. nights where my alarm for this show was going off and I was still awake.
Oh, you still had it set?
Yeah. No, it was a good week, though. I kept on, me and my friends kept saying it felt like we were on summer break in high school again.
Summer break, huh?
4 days.
None of us get, and you had a long stretch off, Bucky,
I
week
did,
off.
10 days.
You and Mike Hards, Zay Collier on our staff, all were smart to take that week and get the extra days through the 4th, and now back, got a short week up until, the midweek. But it really kicks in. It really does. When you look at the calendar, Big 12 football media days are next week up in Arlington. They'll be Wednesday and Thursday of next week. We'll be bringing you full coverage here on the Horn, of course, as the Longhorns begin.
My goodness, Steve
their final year.
Sarkisian's on fire.
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns on fire in the recruiting trail, and obviously the Longhorns and the Sooners' final year in the Big 12. Should be a lot of fun and fireworks. Speaking of fireworks, up in Arlington next week with 14 teams. 7 a day on Wednesday and Thursday, coming in with the 4 new additions. And, as of July 1st, which was Saturday, there are 4 new members of the Big 12 Conference officially, with Houston and Central Florida, BYU, and Cincinnati all joining the Big 12 Conference. So it is a 14-team Big 12, which I had to explain to some folks yesterday at a neighborhood function. Yeah, there were 12 and 14. Well, people trying to add up. There were 10, and then there were 14. Yeah, they're 14 for 1 year, and then they're going to go back to 12.
Yes.
And the Longhorns are going to join the SEC, which is going to be 16. It's kind of interesting when you got to kind of set the table for people who are like,
yes,
okay,
they're
explain
not
this all
quite
to me.
sure about the SEC still.
Yeah, no. I mean, so you mean the Pac-12 it might be going away, where they're not going to be down to 10 when USC and UCLA leave? Yeah, they're leaving for the Big 10. So there's a lot of explaining to do in college football.
I think explaining about the fireworks, people are confused with the 4th on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Dude, they were I don't know when they started. They started on Monday night. I'm like, no, it's tomorrow that you do that. I mean, those things in my neighborhood were, they last for about an hour when they get going.
Yeah,
but man, when they get going
last night for sure.
Last night, the night before even.
Yeah. On our nation's birthday, and hopefully you got to celebrate that however you did. All right, let's get to the headlines, trending topics to start your Wednesday morning now, and they do include Longhorns busy on the recruiting trail. UBO Business Services brings it to you. We'll start with Texas football. Yes, Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns have kept that the recruiting trail and recruiting fireworks going through Independence Day. A 5th member of the class of 2024 committed in the past 6 days yesterday. Houston Langham Creek tight end Jordan Washington is the latest name to commit to the Longhorns. He chose Texas over the likes of Alabama, Texas A&M, and Arizona State. The 6'4", 220-pound senior-to-be joins 4 Metroplex area commitments over the past several days since July 1. North Richland Hills offensive lineman Daniel Cruz was the first. Then came Lucas Lovejoy, 4-star wide receiver Parker Livingstone. Duncanville defensive lineman and Longhorn legacy Alex January committed over the weekend. And IMG Academy defensive back Jordan Johnson Rubel committed to Texas over the weekend as well. He is originally from Fort Worth. That brings the Longhorns 2024 recruiting class to 12 pledges so far. Also, a developing story on that recruiting front. 24/7 Sports projected yesterday that 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo from St. Louis, Missouri, could and possibly will become a Longhorn. Maybe their 13th commitment to the class of 2024. 5-star player that a lot of people thought was headed to Georgia. Longhorns made a big impression on him when he was on his official visit a couple of weeks ago. The 6'2", 205-pound receiver is a national top 25 prospect. Also, big recruiting news from College Station yesterday. Texas A&M earned a commitment from 5-star wide receiver Cameron Coleman. He's from Phoenix City, Alabama. The 6'3", 180-pound wideout gives Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies 7 blue-chip commitments in the past 2 weeks. So fireworks and the recruiting wars continuing there between Texas and Texas A&M. In the NBA, free agency opened on July 1st and over the long weekend. Since Saturday, teams in the league have handed out nearly $2 billion in new contracts. That includes the Dallas Mavericks. They re-signed their point guard Kyrie Irving on a 3-year deal, $127 million. Houston Rockets inked former Toronto star Fred VanVleet, the point guard, to a huge 3-year, $130 million deal. Houston also agreed to terms with former Memphis forward Dylan Brooks. Also out of Portland, the Great Northwest, Trailblazers star guard Damian Lillard has officially requested a trade out of Portland, and according to multiple reports, the Trailblazers willing to work with him. He wants to go to the Miami Heat, apparently. Early word the Blazers working to make that deal happen. In Major League Baseball, coming out of their 3 out of 4 series win in Arlington over the weekend over the Rangers, banged up Houston Astros suffered their latest injury blow. Jose Altuve suffered an undisclosed injury during batting practice yesterday. He was scratched from the lineup for their series opener with Colorado. Houston still won the game, though. Rookie Gray Kessinger hit his first career home run. Fellow rookie Corey Julks had a career-high 4-hit day as the Astros beat the Rockies 4-1. Brandon Bielak was really good on the mound. First place Rangers regrouped. They opened their series in Boston with a 6-2 win. Mitch Garver hit a 3-run homer. Dane Dunning pitched 6 solid frames. Houston still owns a 3-game lead over Houston in the AL West. Also yesterday, rough one for the third place LA Angels in the division. They lost both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to injury. Trout suffered a broken hamate bone in his hand swinging the bat. He's expected to miss several weeks. Otherwise, and Ohtani has a blister on his pitching hand, could keep him from pitching in next week's All-Star game in Seattle. Apparently can still swing the bat. And one note from local golf, congratulations to Nick Schaefer. finished one shot ahead of Jonathan Alden to claim the 77th Firecracker Open at Lyons Municipal Golf Course yesterday. In a thriller of a finish, Schaefer nearly holed out from 80 yards on the 18th and final hole Monday. Tapped in to finish at 15 under for the three-day event. He secures the win at the premier tournament in Austin for amateur golf, joining the likes of Ben Crenshaw, Omar Uresti, Wes Short, and J.L. Lewis. All right, and says Buck, people do amateur fireworks. A lot of the big booms you hear are people that go down to the fireworks stand and spend hundreds of dollars on.
Oh, hundreds. Oh, they must have been sold out this week.
Kaboom.
I mean, in the middle of the week, fireworks, and they started on the weekend.
That's right.
Must have sold out.
That is, obviously downtown Austin had their traditional Auditorium Shores
Well, I bet it
fireworks
was a beauty.
display.
I've been there on numerous occasions. I like it.
We did
But
not.
nothing better than the Dell Diamond, sorry.
We did not wade into the fireworks because they do them in Buda, which is a little bit south of us. They do them in downtown Austin. We live in Onion Creek, so we went to bed early last night. It was been a long weekend and ready to get back at it and crank this thing up because it is a Wednesday already, but there's a lot going on, and a lot has gone on. We'll dive into
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot has gone on. I'm feeling bad for the Angels. My goodness, losing those two guys. Now, one of them, generally one
Trout
of your
gets
stars
hurt
will
quite a
go.
bit.
Trout will get hurt, but Ohtani and Trout in the same game?
They had their second baseman go down too yesterday.
Did they really?
Did they
A
really?
third guy really went down?
Watched that whole game. I watched like 4 complete baseball games.
Dang, do you have money on him?
No,
Okay,
no
good.
gambling.
By the way, Ty, since you've been out, is taking a break from gambling. He's taking a break.
My
He's off till football
Oh, it
season.
must be a new girl.
yeah, my
must be a new girl.
my interests have shifted.
Yeah, there you go. It's costing him.
Yeah, he
Can't afford not to have that cash.
needs that cash as a
Mhm.
single man. But yeah, I mean, look, injuries. We talked last week with Gene Watson from the Kansas City Royals, and it's a problem throughout the league. The baseball, executives are talking about, is it the baseball classic, the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, guys are worn out a little bit now.
Well, yeah,
It's
and
midway anyway. This is generally what
it's-
happens.
You're 80 plus games into the season, 81 games is halfway point. So you're at that point, kind of the dog days of July. Angels injuries, but Houston Astros aren't going to let anybody. I mean, they've got their whole lineup out essentially. I mean, outside of Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman, I mean, they're down. They're one of their healthy pitchers. Christian Javier just doesn't look right, so they could be looking with something there too. But they were able to go into Arlington. That was a gut check series for the Astros to go into Arlington with all the injuries. No Yordan Alvarez, just their lineup banged up, and still won 3 out of 4 in Arlington with that thrilling 12-10 win on Monday, and to get out of there and kind of stay in the race. I mean, they're only 3 back of the Rangers. If they could ever get healthy, the Astros would be formidable, but still looks like the Rangers are the best team to me in that division. Angels, they still don't have the pitching, right? I mean, outside of Shohei Ohtani,
No.
they don't have the overall pitching staff, I don't think, for the
And he's
long
just
haul.
7-3, right?
And 7-3, he's a 7-game winner. He should be better. I mean, his staff, his numbers would tell you, wins, losses, he should have more. He gives them a chance to win every time he goes to the mound, whether he's pitching or hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers are the most complete team in the division right now. They're the most injury-free. I mean, it's not like the Rangers don't have any injuries. I mean, Jacob deGrom is down and won't be back. But other than that, they've stayed relatively outside of the Corey Seager injury that he had in April. They've been pretty healthy. And they Bruce Bochy has been able to pen the same lineup most nights and most days, and that has not been a luxury for Dusty Baker. I mean, look at the Astros yesterday. They're playing the Colorado Rockies in a series after they come out Arlington. They win 2 out of 3. That was a kind of a playoff atmosphere kind of series with sellout crowds in Arlington over the fourth. The Astros lineup at the top was Mauricio Dubon, Corey Julks. Then you got Tucker and Bregman, but then Chas McCormick, Yainer Diaz, Jake Myers, Gray Kessinger's a rookie. I mean, the lineup is just full of young guys. Yeah. I mean, Gray Kessinger's a third-generation ball player who hit a home run in his debut. I mean, it's one of those, again, if you're an Astros fan, you're thinking, man, if we could get healthy, got to get Yordan Alvarez back. We've got to get some guys back. Altuve was just starting to get going, and now he's down again with an undisclosed injury. But I don't know with Dusty Baker yesterday if it's, I mean, the way he made it sound with Altuve got hurt during batting practice, it sounded ominous. It was like he wasn't sharing what the injury was, but the fact that he wasn't sharing anything made it
Like
seem
it's going
like,
to be
no.
worse than they thought it was.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they just can't afford anybody to be out right now. But give Houston credit; they do have these young guys like Dubon and Corey Julks was really good yesterday. Yainer Diaz has come on. And I'll give it, Jose Abreu was so bad for the first 2 months of the year. He's starting to heat up. Had a big series in Arlington. If they could get everybody back, they'd be fine for the big picture. But I don't know. It just feels like one of those years for Houston. Whereas the Rangers, as I say, have stayed pretty injury-free. And they seem to be the most complete team right now in the division, and certainly one of the best in all of
baseball. Yeah.
Well, the Atlanta Braves are the best team in baseball right now. Their winning streak was snapped yesterday, but man, they've got 8 All-Stars. The Rangers have 6 All-Stars going to the All-Star game. The All-Star game is in 6 days up there in Seattle. The Rangers sending 6 to the All-Star game. Braves 8. It's a big number. Most of their pitching staff is going, along with Ronald Acuna Jr. and all those young stars in Atlanta. And right now, those look like the best 2 teams. Meanwhile, a team like the Astros battling injuries. The LA Dodgers are battling injuries. They lost
Tampa relatively healthy. Though.
Relatively healthy. Tampa and the Rangers are the best 2 teams in the AL. Your Yankees are still dealing with the injured Aaron Judge on his toe, but Clayton Kershaw is now hurt for the Dodgers. They also lost. Who's the other pitcher the Dodgers lost for the year? You're looking at world playoff contenders. Astros, Dodgers, Yankees dealing with injuries. Rays, Rangers, Braves looking pretty darn good right now. So baseball hot. There's a lot of college baseball news brewing as well, which we'll get into. Hasn't been any development on the Longhorn side of things as far as the Woody Williams decision with other than the report right before the break that Woody Williams would not be returning as the pitching coach for the Longhorns. That we have not heard anything official from David Pierce and the Longhorns on that, but by all accounts, David Pierce is again looking for a new pitching coach while they work through the transfer portal. I did hear word last week that Texas A&M is making a run at Tennessee's pitching coach Frank Anderson, the former Longhorn pitching coach. So there's college baseball news developing. The baseball amateur draft is coming up on Sunday night into Monday ahead of the All-Star game. So plenty of baseball, plenty of basketball with the free agency. As I said in the update, nearly $2 billion in new contracts handed out. Max deals all over the place. Not significant movement. Most of the players re-signing where they were. There has not been a Dame Lillard trade yet, but that is probably pending at this point. The Dame Lillard's going to be moved. He's finally officially requested his trade out of Portland, which kind of seems like that could have happened back in June, right? Didn't have to wait all the way till July.
Yeah, he'll either be with Miami or Philly. Because Philly didn't what's his name, Maxey, earn his option.
Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't do that with that young guy.
No, he's still there.
Yeah, he's got another year.
Yeah, they'll probably work. I think they want to figure out the James Harden thing before they work
before
out
they
an
give
extension.
Him okay.
Yeah, and they haven't done much. Philadelphia fans are grumbling because, wait a second, we haven't done anything of significance. We haven't locked up James Harden or traded him. What are we going to do?
And Maxey's moved every year. He's gotten better and better since he's been there.
Oh, yeah, he's an improving player.
Yeah.
Valuing asset, as we would say, for sure. And that's, the Dallas Mavericks kind of painted themselves into a spot where they had to re-sign Kyrie Irving. Once they traded for him, gave up all the pieces to get him, they had to go re-sign him. I was thinking about this yesterday, Ty, that now that, if you go back, and I'm not going to, point fingers that you don't go after Kyrie Irving, because I felt like the Mavericks had to do something to show Luka Doncic they were trying, because their young star is growing impatient with the lack of moves by that team to put a roster around him, like you've seen in Denver, right? Nikola Jokic is an MVP, Luka's an MVP, and the Nuggets have built this roster around him that can win a championship. That's not happened for Luka yet. You wonder if they should have waited on Dame Lillard. I mean, if you had not done the Kyrie Irving deal, would the Mavericks be a nice spot for Dame Lillard? Instead, you're re-upping Kyrie Irving. It's one of those.
Well, they were almost the team to provide wool because Dame Lillard for like the last 5 years has been, and nothing ever really happened. So.
Well, you'd have to give up more to get Dame Lillard. I think that would be the only thing stopping. That's like you don't have anything to give up to trade for him at this point. And I'm pretty sure Damian Lillard's putting the Blazers into a position where he's like, I want to go to Miami.
That's the team I want to be with.
So they're just going to get whatever they can get from Miami. I think that will happen here in the next week or two.
Trade to Miami?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Miami make some move. They got rid of Strus. They're clearing some room to work
Strus signed with Cleveland. Max Strus, one of their run to the NBA Finals stars.
Right. Became a star this year. Yeah, sure.
Inked a deal. I mean,
the Mavs are making moves, though. They new center, Rashawn Holmes.
You're very happy about that.
We re-signed Dwight Powell.
Dwight Powell, which
Mike
everybody
still there.
hates.
Mike Hard's texted me over the break. Just
But you know he's still there.
Yeah, he had to let me know.
Well,
But,
a lot of money handed out without a doubt. Not a lot of movement in the NBA as far as like Chris Middleton's back with Milwaukee, Kyrie Irving back with Dallas. The Rockets, interesting. This is where the NBA is. The Rockets had to spend over $50 million. They had to just to get to the salary floor of the NBA. Remember, the salary cap is one thing, but there's a salary floor. You have to spend at least X amount. So the Rockets, you knew were going to be active because by rule they had to get to a certain threshold of salary dollars spent. So, Fred VanVleet, people look at that and say $130 million for an undrafted player who won a championship in Toronto, but give that guy credit. He seems like the exact thing the Rockets need, which is talented point guard who just is going to bring it. He's going to bring attitude. He's going to bring, energy. He's going to bring leadership to a young team that's a bunch of babies. That Ime Udoka.
He seems to be able to get it done. Scoring,
he's just a good player.
He's just a good player, and not a superstar, but
he's not as efficient as he used to be.
No,
right, and he's older, right? He's older.
Oh yeah, I mean, when he was, who was he with? That was when
Kyle
Toronto.
Lowry.
Was that with Toronto when they won the championship?
with Kawhi and Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. No, he's older now. I mean,
he's 30.
And he's still
29,
getting it
30
done.
years old.
Still getting some
but
stuff
he's
done.
exactly what Houston and their new coach Ime Udoka needs, which is
a veteran.
grown-up.
Yeah.
A grown-up who knows how to go to work every day.
Maybe able to keep the coach in line.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly. Keep the coach out of places he shouldn't be.
Lives.
Hopefully he's learned that lesson out of Boston. But either way, the Rockets are happy to have him as their coach, and then a grown-up. And then Dylan Brooks, right? Dylan Brooks made the headlines in Memphis with his jaw-talking with LeBron James and others. But he's another one of those just, second-round hard-working guys. And Houston needs some of that. They got a bunch of young guys who need to learn how to become a winning team. And Houston had to spend the money, as we said, to get to the threshold. So the Rockets making some moves. Mavericks keeping Kyrie.
Is Kevin Porter gone?
No, he's still there. Kevin Porter Jr. is still there.
You'd have to imagine Amen Thompson's probably going to come off the bench to start then.
Yeah, I mean, he's 18. I don't know that you can rely on him to be an everyday starter. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Red VanVleet in your backcourt. But, are they going to improve on 20 wins? I don't know.
Well, they're going to improve because they're still going to, when it comes to the draft, they're still going to be picking pretty top-tier guys over the next couple of years.
They'll definitely be better in San Antonio next year.
Well, because they'll, of course, haven't done much, but Victor Wembanyama is in, and he becomes the centerpiece of their rebuild down in San Antonio. So, yeah, busy over the weekend. Baseball, obviously the basketball with the NBA in the last 4 or 5 days. We also have the recruiting. Longhorns on the recruiting trail. This has become kind of the calling card for Steve Sarkisian and this coaching staff. Kind of slow to pick up through the spring, but then these big June recruiting weekends that they have, and coming out of that, last year was Arch Manning.
I just got to believe that you can pay so much more attention to an individual when you have them, when there's nobody around.
They clearly have a plan.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Longhorns at least Longhorn fans start to grumble in April and into May.
Sure.
We don't have anybody committed for our recruiting class. What are we doing? And then, again, they have these big June recruiting weekends. And last year it was Arch Manning who committed in late June.
That's right.
And that led to just a, Pied Piper effect of commitments that led to a top 5, top 3 recruiting class. This year they had very few going into June. Now we are on July 5th. They have 12 and could be adding a 13th here shortly. And more
quality
to come.
Players. I mean, big-time players.
Yeah, at all phases, 2 running backs, a couple of offensive linemen. So we'll run
Wide
through the
receivers,
Longhorn.
they're crushing it.
Yeah, and the Aggies, too, as I mentioned in the headlines, Jimbo Fisher.
He had 2 nice receivers that he's got now.
Yeah, they're stockpiling talent as well. And looks what the Longhorns have to do. It's the all gas, no excuses season. We're a week out to Big 12 Media Days, and no reason the Longhorns shouldn't be the favorites when we get up there. We'll tell you why we're not going up next week. But the whole radio station will be there next week in Arlington to bring you Big 12 Football Media Days. And, of course, that's where all Big 12 teams are announced and, preseason favorites. There's no reason Longhorns shouldn't be a preseason pick to win the Big 12 by most. We'll make some predictions on that coming up and give you the update on where the Longhorns are on the recruiting front. But that's where we are. I think we're 59 days to the start of the Longhorn football season, 1 week to Big 12 Media Days. We'll have more on that coming up. Also, some B&E facts of the day on your Wednesday morning. We're not getting you up over the hump. We're getting your week underway for a lot of you on this Wednesday morning, 5 July. Glad you're with us. Just getting warmed up. The Buck is back. Ty is here. You're here. It's the show of the people here on the Horn. Bud Light, folks, hope you had a great Bud Light weekend. And, boy, there was plenty of opportunities. As Buck said, it's just blazing hot, searing temperatures. But that's always good. If you find a water source, float in a river somewhere, get to a lake, get to the coast, get to the swimming pool, you can do that with the ice-cold Bud Lights every single time. It is the world's favorite light beer, the state of Texas's favorite light beer. Only 4 crisp, great ingredients that give you that crisp flavor every single time. It's brewed in Texas, deep in the heart, and dang proud of it. By Texans, for Texans, and hope you had a great Independence Day weekend with the icy cold Bud Lights. It's also the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas Exes, and that Texas OU game. As we say, the Longhorn football season inside 60 days now, inside 2 months to the start of the 2024 college football season. That means tailgates and watch parties and all the fun that comes with another year of college football with the Bud Lights. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're safe and smart. Made great decisions every single time. That's always something we encourage, which you are taking in your full advice as well with the ice cold Bud Lights. Brewed in Texas, by Texans, for Texans, and dang proud of it. Oh, man, to be young again like our producer, Ty Henderson. We went into the break on Friday. He said, I'm gonna sleep over the weekend. Get some rest.
Not a chance.
Because there were 2 mornings in a row, Buck, where he slept at the radio station because he was out
Up on
late.
the couch again?
He had a deep Eddie day night.
Wednesday till yesterday was.
And he said, no, I'm going to get some rest. I was like, good, me too. And now he's already saying, hey, I didn't sleep much over the weekend. Oh, man.
Of course not.
To be 25 again.
Absolutely.
But, that's the way that goes. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. It was a good weekend, as we said, for the Astros, but they're still dealing with injuries. Good weekend for Steve Sarkisian on the recruiting trail. Jimbo Fisher as well down at College Station. And a good weekend for Joey Chestnut, who won the 2023 hot dog eating contest for the 16th time.
Yeah, his timing got thrown off from the rain and the storm.
He had to put it in his own hands, say, hey, this thing's going to happen.
Can I just
He
tell you?
did, didn't he?
They canceled it. And then, like, an hour later, I got an update. It was like, the hot dog eating contest back on.
It's on.
We got to put something on. That was on. If you're a Texas Ranger baseball fan or an Astros fan, you know that was happening right while that game was going on, the final game of that 4-game series in Arlington on Monday. And so where I was, we went down to New Braunfels for a couple days, so I was sitting and watching the Astros game, and Astros Rangers on one TV, and the Nathan's hot dog eating contest was on another one where I was, and it was like I can't watch it. It's so disgusting. I'm like I look over like, oh, you're like,
are you sure you weren't watching a replay?
Maybe I was. When
yeah,
was
because
it?
it was yesterday, but it was on ESPN. Like replays were.
See, I don't know if it was live, but I could barely watch it.
Oh, last year was the year where the protester came up on the stage.
Oh, so they were showing the previous years on Monday.
Yeah, so yesterday it happens on 4th of July.
Oh, my
It's
bad.
the same
My
thing.
bad.
It's the same gross.
It doesn't change.
The under hit. The under 72.5 dogs hit.
Did you bet? You didn't bet on
No,
that. You're on a.
But I still, like I said, I'm still going to keep the people updated.
Well, my fault then. So I was watching the repeat, but I don't know how it's different.
But it's not. I mean, what do you expect?
It's almost like an
Unless
F1.
a bird flies in his mouth and he chomps up a bird.
It's like the only thing with less drama than that is an F1 race these days, where you know Red Bull's going to win and
Absolutely.
Max Verstappen's going to win the race. That's just going to happen.
I need to get Kobayashi back. Where did he go?
Yeah, where's Kobayashi? Where's somebody to challenge this guy? All right, so I was actually not watching the gross replay of last year's event on Monday while the Astros were rallying to beat the Rangers 12-10 and take 3 out of 4 in that series. That was a great series, by the way, with a playoff environment. But the hot dog, I can't watch it. I really can't. Literally cannot stomach it.
I don't blame you.
I just it's so gross, and they're like dumping the hot dogs in
Water.
pitchers of water. It's just so disgusting and so gross. But hopefully you had a better weekend than
That dude gets cash money for that.
Yeah, what happened to Kobayashi? Where'd he go, Ty? I mean, I know
don't
you're
know.
He blew up. He
Ty's
exploded.
kind of a
Just
competitive eater
exploded.
himself. Did he just retire, and then do competitive eaters retire without telling anyone? Does that happen, or do they end up with like gastroenteritis? I don't know what happens.
I don't know. There was one other guy that broke the streak with Joey Chestnut in there that beat him, an American, like an older, like Italian dude, like 45. But that was 1 year. I don't know where Kobayashi went though. It's been at least like 5 years since he's been in it.
Yeah, I mean it is something else. But that always happens on the 4th. So I didn't watch much TV yesterday. We were, it's where I live in Onion Creek. That 4th of July, everybody's out and you do a little parade, and then there's pool events and all kinds of stuff. So
It's that time of year you meet everybody again.
yeah, you get to say hi to everybody in the neighborhood that you didn't see since last year.
Right.
They do a big parade and golf carts and all that good stuff, things at the pool. But so good time for sure. Hopefully everybody had their way to celebrate Independence Day. It was a good one for Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns. So I mentioned we would tell you why this show, you and I, Buck, are not going. We've gone to Big 12 Media Days every year for the last several to really launch the college football season.
Yep.
But this year we will not be going because the Big 12 has changed the format. So we have gotten word, and it's now official, that the Big 12 is going to have 7 teams each day starting at like noon.
Yeah, we can't get anybody early.
Right. So we would be sitting there in Jerry World.
Looking at the spot where Dak went down.
We'd be sitting on the field in an empty football stadium under that big scoreboard, and you'd hear this hum from the scoreboard. And we'd probably be the only ones there because nothing's going to start happening until lunchtime each day. So that doesn't make much sense for this show to be there. But, Craig Way and Jeff Howe with Light the Tower will be there starting 10 to 12, and then Chad and Zay, and then Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge will be there throughout the thick of Big 12 Football Media Days. We will certainly, bring back, use all the audio that they gather and
The next
book
morning,
guests
yeah.
and have people. It's just we don't need to be live in Arlington and hotel costs and things of that nature. But I will say that our friends at One Source Gas and Hayes City Store and Ice House helping us get up there this week for the next week for the radio stations. We appreciate them. Travis Tyndall and
Travis
the team.
still headed up that way?
Travis will be going up
Right.
with Tamra for a couple days in Arlington to take in Big 12 Football Media Days, great partner of ours. And so it's happening. We are just not going to be a live part of it. We will certainly cover it. But, it also next Wednesday, Buck, are the days when the Big 12 preseason awards are announced, all Big 12 teams, teams to win the Big 12. So we'll have good fodder and good conversation to be had. As I say, I find no reason why the Longhorns, K-State is going to be a popular pick.
Sure.
Because they won it last year and beat TCU in that thrilling overtime
And so
Big
far, I
12
believe
title
they
game.
got the best coach in the league right now.
And right in the most proven and best coach in the Big 12 resides in Manhattan, Kansas. And give K-State and that program credit for finding a perfect replacement for
Boy,
Bill
did
Snyder.
they ever, didn't they?
Yeah, they went to South Dakota State and found someone who knows how to build a program and win, and Chris Kleiman is that. So I think there'll be a lot of people picking K-State. There'll be a lot of buzz for Texas Tech, I would guess, with Joey McGuire coming off an 8-win season in which the Red Raiders beat Texas, beat Oklahoma, won their bowl game, won 4 straight games to finish the regular season, and they come back with a veteran roster. And obviously, whether people like it or not, there'll be buzz for Texas to win the Big 12. Steve Sarkisian has to prove it. The staff has to prove they can maximize the ceiling of this football team. But if they do, this is as talented a roster as there is in the Big 12. I mean, maybe the most talented.
It is the most talented roster.
It is. And but talent doesn't win games.
No.
You got to get on the field and win football games.
And you also got to coach those games.
Yep.
And that's why I'm not leaving Sonny Dykes and TCU out of the mix, because they had a lot of players that got a lot of playing time when they were knocking people out last year. I know they lost a lot, but I believe the way he hits the portal and some of the talent that he's got coming in there, and guys that have played in games last year.
I would say this too. Well, I agree with you. Sonny Dykes is a great coach, and I think he's in a perfect spot for him. Speaking of give programs credit for finding, they replaced Gary Patterson.
That's right.
Who built that program and is a Hall of Fame coach.
1 year later, they were in the national championship game.
And they hired the right guy from right down the street at SMU, a ton of Texas ties. And Sonny had been, remember when Sonny was out at Cal, Sonny Dykes, it was Gary Patterson that picked him up as an analyst, right? Brought him in and put him on his staff and kind of, I don't say resurrected, but kind of jump-started his career again, which landed him over at SMU, which jump-started him back to TCU. So I would agree with you. You can't just forget about TCU. Same time, it is difficult to replace your best player and most productive player at every single position on the football field. That's a huge challenge, including Max Duggan, the Heisman runner-up at quarterback, Kendre Miller at running back, Quentin Johnston and Tay Barber and others at receiver.
Boy, how did they replace that running back? They've got the quarterback. The quarterback was winning. Yeah, but the quarterback was winning the battle before. He was in the thick of things.
Max Duggan was a special story last year. He just had a magical year, and they also had all the games in which the other team's starting quarterback got hurt. Right? What they had 4 or 5 in a row.
They knocked 5 out in a row.
Yeah, and they won a lot of close games last year. They won a lot of come from behind, one score. I mean, think of the Baylor game, the West Virginia game. Many would say that the odds will catch up with you on that. You don't win that many one-score close games, but they did. That's why they were 12-0 going into the Big 12 title game. Lost in a heartbreaker to K-State in overtime, but then, of course, beat Michigan in that semifinal and then got smoked by Georgia in the Natty national title game. Magical year for Sonny Dykes. Can they repeat? There are some who would tell you it's more like Dave Aranda's Baylor team, who won the Big 12 one year and then had to replace all their best players.
That's right, especially on defense.
Yeah, and
that
lost
offensive line.
Baylor won the Big 12 and then, lost the Terrell Bernards and Jalen Petries and Tyquan Thornton, their receiver. They lost their best and most productive players and didn't replace them with adequate enough players.
No, they struggled the following year.
Struggled to a rough year. So Baylor's one of those teams you're just not sure, right? Baylor's been on this run of terrible first year for Dave Aranda, win the Big 12, and then back to bad year. So what can you expect from Baylor? Who knows? I mean, that's the thing. They're just, of the 4 new teams in the Big 12, it doesn't feel like any of them are ready to walk in and compete for the Big 12 title. Luke Fickell's no longer at Cincinnati, and they're replacing a ton of key guys over the last couple of years in that program. BYU.
BYU is the one for me because they always had those mature,
I think Central Florida,
27-year-old guys playing.
Where you just don't know. You got a bunch of grown people. Central Florida looks like the most talented team coming in as a new team.
They bring back their quarterback, do they not?
They do.
Ty? They have their quarterback coming back, Central Florida.
They do, and Gus Malzahn.
Yes.
John Rice Plumlee.
And Gus Malzahn's a proven coach, and the Big 12 is going to have to figure him out because he's one of those that has that Gus Malzahn style of offense that you have to learn. Same time,
Texas doesn't play UCF, right?
They do not. No.
Okay, thank God.
Houston, though. Texas adds Houston and BYU. Those are the 2 newcomers Texas will see. And Houston does not look ready for the Big 12.
Not with the new quarterback. A quarterback who was there for 4 years or 5 years as a starter.
Tune.
Yeah,
Dayton
and their wide receiver
and their best running back jumped into the transfer portal after spring practice for Dana Holgorsen.
Right.
They don't look the part. And then there's Oklahoma, which last year at this time, all Oklahoma fans were, we're fine. We don't need Lincoln Riley. We're bigger. We're bigger than one coach. We're the Oklahoma Sooners. And we found out that Brett Venables seemed like to be the perfect fit. But at the same time, as I've heard said and written many times, at what point? I mean, they replaced a Hall of Fame coach with a Hall of Fame coach, right? They went from Bob Stoops to Lincoln Riley, and
then he took all the players.
Texas would tell you that it's not always easy to find the next guy, right? It's not, you don't just go from Mac Brown to another Hall of Fame coach. Seems like TCU did it with Gary Patterson to Sonny Dykes, but it's not that easy. So is Brett Venables ready to bring that program back? They lost not only Lincoln Riley and good chunks of that coaching staff to USC, they also lost a lot of their best players, including Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman Trophy last year. Spencer Rattler had left the year previous to that. So where is Oklahoma becomes a big question.
They will be better.
I think they'll be better. But remember, they were a 6-win team last year that won their first 3 games.
But in this conference, how much better do you have to be? That's the thing.
That's my question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Oklahoma was 3-0 and finished with 6 wins. So they went 3-7, 3-8 down the stretch.
Yep.
I mean, that was a bad football team at the after Texas smoked them in the Cotton Bowl 49-0. That was not a good football team. Their defense was a mess. They would say we lost some close games.
Well, and that's the thing is, how did their defense become such a mess? This guy was supposed to be a defensive guru.
It was already a mess when he got there, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's been a mess for the last couple of years.
Well, and I think, and this is what Oklahoma fans will tell you on the positive side, is Brett Venables last year did what Steve Sarkisian did in year 1. There's just, you got to figure out who's on board. You're going to install your systems.
Sure.
Maybe don't fit the talent you have, but you're going to.
Here's what we did when Lincoln was here. This is what we did.
Well,
and they're like,
Brett
he's
Venables
not there.
is going to come in and install his defense.
Absolutely.
And he really didn't have the personnel to run that defense. Like Sark in his first year installing his offense and didn't really have the personnel to do that. And the Longhorns went 5-7. And it was one of the worst years in 50 years for the program. But Sark would tell you we needed to do that to get the program where we want it to be. We weren't going to skip steps on installing. And that's what Brett Venables would say. We did the same thing, and we will be better in year 2. But, for Steve Sarkisian in year 2, that was 8-4. Would you say, I could see Oklahoma going 8-4.
Yeah, yes,
but
I can.
That's not competing because they're not going to lose a non-conference game. If you look at Oklahoma, the best thing
They got
Oklahoma has going
nobody
is
putting
no schedule.
What's the hardest game, Nebraska?
Their hardest game in non-conference, they don't play Nebraska.
They don't this year?
Their biggest non-conference game is.
Well, they play somebody like Tulsa or something like that.
Remember, they were supposed to play Georgia in the non-conference, but they canceled that once they announced they're moving to the SEC. That game got
They
dumped.
got Tulsa on their schedule, something like that.
They've got a bad schedule. And the Big 12, in Oklahoma's final year in the Big 12, they've dominated the conference as far as championships go. They don't play Tech. They don't play Kansas State on their way out.
It's Arkansas State, SMU, and Tulsa.
Yeah.
At Tulsa.
So, yes, I could see Oklahoma winning 8 or 9 games based on schedule, which, if you win 8, you're going to lose 4. I don't think they're going to compete for the Big 12 championship. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. If they get on a heater and win those non-con games, because they were 3-0 coming into conference last year. And in conference is where Brett Venables' team was really bad. They were 3-0 after beating Nebraska, and then Texas just
I know.
lost the TCU game.
I know it's more of an excuse, but it's hard when you come in the first year into this Big 12, no matter what.
I would agree. But also the new team, the current Big 12 teams have to learn the new teams and those coaching staffs and what they're bringing to the table. We'll all find out. That would be my headline of Big 12 Football Media Days, just uncertainty. Like 4 new teams that you're trying to figure out. What is Oklahoma? Can Texas live up to the expectation? How does TCU replace all of their best players for Sonny Dykes and a team that played for the national championship a year ago? Does
Joey McGuire become the surprise team in the Big 12?
Yeah. Joey McGuire likes his team a lot, and I think you circle that game on Black Friday here in Austin.
It'll mean something. I believe it'll mean something.
That Friday after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That Texas game for the final time for a long time.
That will mean
for
something.
A lot.
Yep.
So already looking forward to a week out in Big 12 Football Media Days. We'll talk more college football. Longhorns on the recruiting trail with that coming up in our Coach's Corner. We've got some B&E facts of the day from the busy weekend coming up. No Craig Way report. Craig Way, of course, is off for the next couple of weeks. We'll bring back the Craig Way report when Craig returns, and we have Longhorn football news to get you when the Longhorns open up training camp later in July. All right, that'll wrap up this segment. We'll pick it up on the other side with some B&E facts of the day. Coach's Corner coming. Plenty to do on a Wednesday here on B&E. Wednesday on B&E. That is right. Back with you. And as our man CB on the Twitter machine said, seems like forever since you've been on. Well, just 4 days. And Bucky longer because he was out the week leading up to the 4th of July weekend. But that's what it's about. A little downtime during the middle of the summer. And we're cranking it back up and trying to get you caught up on the news and recruiting, which we will talk about. Also, Austin FC has a new sporting manager, which we'll tell you about coming up. Austin FC had a draw, 1-1 draw at
had a chance
Inter
to win
Miami.
3 in a row, did they not?
Yeah, they had a chance to earn 9 points over a week period. They
tied a bad team.
Yeah, tied the worst team in the league. By the way, also on a B&E Fact of the Day segment, do you realize that at the Rose Bowl over the weekend, I think it was yesterday, the LA Galaxy played LAFC.
How about that?
80,000 fans showed up at the Rose Bowl to watch that soccer match, the largest in MLS history. So to say that league is growing, the addition of Lionel Messi coming up later this month.
How are they going to do that in Miami when that guy's ready to play? Where are they going to play that game?
Well, it's such a cool story that, as we said, with Lionel Messi, the fact that he got, as part of his deal in Miami, was to get cut in on the Apple Plus, subscriptions, meaning it's in his best interest to help grow the league, because the more Apple Plus subscriptions they sell,
the more money he makes
all over the world, the more money he will make. So what do you think that means? He's going to help recruit other good players to come join the MLS, and that's something can only be good for the league in my mind. Also, the NBA handed out money in bundles. Speaking of money in bundles, how about Jerry Jones? Over the weekend, Buck, over the long weekend, Netflix, it was revealed, is buying the rights to a 10-episode docuseries that centers around Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones.
Can't wait for this.
10-episode docuseries like we've seen with Michael Jordan, F1, the ride on Pro PBR, kind of behind the scenes. I haven't seen any details on. I'm assuming this will be following Jerry for a season kind of thing, or is this going to be his past into this? Maybe they intertwine a lot.
It's probably like his life. Like
I hope it shows him when he's the CEO of other businesses. When that guy speaks to people, and when he's not the goofy Jerry Jones, when he's the Jerry Jones businessman, he's incredible.
Well, for all my criticisms of Jerry as a general manager, there's no doubt he's one of the premier owners in all of sports. I mean, he's a tremendous businessman and person.
Oh, yeah.
He's
when he gets down and he talks to you seriously, he is unbelievable.
But that's the frustration for Cowboys fans. He would just do that and hire a great general manager, pay the best general manager in the game, which he had in Jimmy Johnson, it felt like. But
I know he calls it the family business, but it's still his toy.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
It's just a toy compared to all the other things that he's got going on in his world.
Well, and that's, again, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I can only imagine the frustration. If he would just run that business like he does other businesses and hire the best people to run the show, Cowboys.
I love Jerry Jones.
Well,
I wish we had a GM, though. But it's not going to. It's not going to happen, so I stopped thinking about it.
That's probably wise. You drive yourself crazy with that.
Guys like their toys.
Also, over the weekend, if you missed it, did you see the street race in the streets of Chicago, the NASCAR race?
No, I didn't see that.
Pretty cool. Having spent plenty of time in downtown Chicago, it was very familiar. They had it right through Millennium Park.
None of the car races got shot through the neighborhoods or anything?
No. But, almost 5 million people tuned into that on NBC. Just the appeal of the street race. It's the most watched NASCAR race in 7 years.
That's huge for NASCAR.
Yeah, and it was a rainy day, kind of a rainy, cold, 68-degree day in Chicago. But the TV ratings were gangbusters, which was pretty cool. So that went on this weekend. Also, Joey Chestnut, as we mentioned, he won the hot dog eating contest yesterday. How about this dude?
Are there a series of eating that day? I mean, he's not. That's just the main event. Aren't there females that have their isn't there all kinds of contests?
I mean, yeah. I don't know if there's any females.
Well, here's the thing. Joey Chestnut,
in his competition.
Joey Chestnut now has 55 world records for eating, which include funnel cake, Twinkies, deep-fried asparagus, Taco Bell tacos, gumbo, and Big Macs.
Crunchy.
He owns the record for all of that. He ate 62 hot dogs yesterday to win $10,000. But how about this with Joey Chestnut? Do you realize that he has he earns about $500,000 annually? He's got endorsement deals with Dude Wipes. You a Dude Wipes guy?
Oh yeah,
you got those at my parents' house.
There you go. That's Dude Wipes. Also, Raisin Canes sponsors Joey Chestnut.
Metamucil,
Wonderful Pistachios, Pepsi, and he's got his own line of dips and sauces. So this guy,
I was clogged that day.
This guy's this guy's become an industry unto himself. And several people sent us the note that if you want to know about Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi There's a 30 for 30 called The Good, the Bad, and the Hungry that we need to watch. The Good, the Bad, and the Hungry. That is a 30 for 30 I'll probably not watch. Not interested. I can't watch. It grosses me out. Like, literally, I have a pretty good stomach for things. I can't actually watch it. I look up and I'm like, ooh. It really brings me to nausea.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's impressive.
But it ties. Well, look, the guy's built an industry out of eating, and that's pretty cool.
I mean, how long has the Nathan's contest been going on for?
A long time.
Oh, I have no idea. Can't tell you that. But I'm out. I'm out on that. And how about this? Also over the weekend, Buck, as we're trying to recap everything that happened over the 4 or 5 days we were gone, ESPN laid off 20 or more prominent employees, including the likes of Jalen Rose and Jeff Van Gundy and many, many more. But do you realize the Jeff Van Gundy dismissal leads to Doris Burke? Your lady, Doris Burke, Buck, may move to the top.
There you go.
She may become the lead analyst on NBA games along with Mark Jackson and Mike Breen when it's ABC and Disney and ESPN. Doris Burke.
Well, they let her grow through that business.
She's good.
She's very good.
She's very good, yes.
And rightfully.
There's no doubt.
But yeah, somebody said to us, Lee Corso and Dick Vitale made the cut. I guess, yeah.
They must have some lifetime deals or something.
Oh, football-wise,
their franchise has been unto ESPN. But yes, there are a lot of good names, good people.
Those guys won't be gone. They'll be like Chris Berman. They'll be there forever.
Like David Pollock on college football out. Matt Hasselbeck on the NFL. A lot of really quality broadcasters or personalities, but and everybody said it was because they're signing Pat McAfee. They're bringing in Pat McAfee, so everybody's got to be cut.
He needs $1 billion
and more time for Stephen A.
Yeah, well, Pat McAfee's that was a business deal, not just they're taking his whole show, which is going to bring its entire audience. They think, which is probably a good deal. But yes, Pat McAfee will probably be doing college football. Doing a little bit of everything at ESPN. All right, there you go. That's a little bit of a recap on the B&E Facts of the Day, things that have gone on. We'll continue the recap and get you caught up on a Wednesday. Plus our Coach's Corner. The Longhorns busy on the recruiting trail. Coming next.
Folks, Dr. Greg Eckert and his all-star group of professionals do everything from general dentistry to the most advanced work. And I had my teeth 6 years ago restored in just 2 visits. I had the veneers put in. And I want to thank Dr. Eckert because I couldn't be happier. I did not like my smile. It didn't give me the confidence that I wanted to have when taking pictures or just saying hello to people, as a matter of fact. But in just 2 visits, I had that done. Now, his general dentistry, teeth cleaning, teeth whitening, tooth loss solution, of course. And find out if you're a candidate for dental implants because the great doctor's doing an awful lot of those, and he's doing them a lot at a rapid pace right now. And he wants to, if you want to find out if you're a candidate for dental implants, give him a call today at 512-345-3166 is his telephone number to find out if you're a candidate for that. Or even if you want to have these veneers put in. As I said, I had temporaries in, and I love the way the work that Dr. Eckert did with the moldings and everything, the color of the teeth that I wanted to keep my temporaries in. He said, not so fast, my friend. We're going to get the ones that you want. And he got the ones that I had fitted just perfect for me. And I've had them for 6 years. And as I said, I can't be happier with them. But find out if you're a candidate for both, whether it's dental implants or veneers. Find out for Dr. Greg Eckert, who is absolutely the very best. Over 27 years of doing this, over 1,400 cases of restoring teeth. And if you've got dental anxiety and you don't want to go to the dentist because you're afraid, don't be afraid, please. Get that dental health taken care of. These folks are the best to go to, whether it's for you or for your child. Do that. 512-345-3166. He's our dentist and should be your dentist also.
Wednesday on the Horn, B&E with you, back at it. After a few days off. We'll recap the good, the bad, and the ugly from when we last spoke. What's gone down, including Bucky celebrating a birthday back on Thursday. Happy birthday to the Buck. Also on Saturday, in addition to NBA free agency and all the money handed out, it was Bobby Bonilla Day, Buck. Bobby Bonilla
Picked up his check again?
collected his $1.2 million of annual mailbox money. From
Now
the
he
New
can go
York
to
Mets.
vacation. Now he can go on vacation.
Yeah. And he's, he wins at his house every July 1st.
When does that thing end? 32
It's only
or
It's
36?
34 5.
Oh, it is.
I'll let you know. He's got 12 years left. 12 years left on that deal. $13.1 million to go to pay him out.
He got a good deal like Allen Iverson and his buddies that kept his money from him.
Every July 1st from 2011 through 2035 will be Bobby Bonilla Day. And I heard somebody say or tweet they should do like a Bobby Bonilla bobblehead event every July 1st at the stadium. Come get your Bobby Bonilla. You
Hell
should get
yeah.
something out of your
Get him to come
$1.2
pitch
million.
one pitch.
I want that
Start
deal.
the game.
That's what we all strive for, I believe, is mailbox money. Mailbox money, just checks that show up or direct deposit. You know what I'm saying? That was Saturday, so it was a busy one for sure. And we mentioned the bad day at ESPN on Friday when they cut up to upwards of 20 air talents. I didn't mention Steve Young was cut loose, who I think
Steve
does
Young?
a great job
Yeah.
on the NFL coverage. Keyshawn Johnson is out. Susie Colbert, like 27 years. What's
What?
Susie Colbert ever do? 27 years at ESPN, out. Todd McShay, the draft analyst, gone.
They no more Todd.
No more Todd. Nope.
Mac,
Wow.
Mel Kiper's in.
Are they going to replace all these people, or is it just going to be like,
They
hey, you're
kinda
working
have-
more?
Well, I mean, when you watch some of their pregame shows, they got like 8 people up there. It doesn't take that many to analyze
They just
one
slide
football
somebody
game.
else in, yeah.
They just do it with 7.
Here's what they do. They slide them in for less money.
Yeah, they're cutting as cord cutting continues and people go more and more to streaming services and whatnot. Gene Wojciechowski out too. He was a great college game day correspondent, one of the best. David Pollock out. So those are all very talented people who will find work elsewhere you would imagine, but not at ESPN. Is not where they will be. So that was a rough day. Jeff Van Gundy as well, but Max Kellerman. You see quite a bit on all the shows. Max
All the
Keller,
boxing.
yeah, who started with the boxing coverage. He was let go on Friday.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
That show's over.
Is J. Will still there?
I don't see him as part of the cut list, but
That show sucked, anyways.
we're usually on the air when that show was happening, so I never really got a chance to. It was on TV in the morning some mornings. So we'd have it on the right channel. We could see that. Also on Saturday, what you missed, you know that in addition to 4 new schools joining the Big 12, Central Florida, Houston, BYU, and Cincinnati, Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, UAB, and UTSA all joined the American Conference. That happened officially on July the 1st. Conference USA added Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston. So Sam
Not
Houston.
Jackson State, but Jacksonville State, correct?
Jacksonville
The
State.
Gamecocks, right?
Yeah. If you say so.
I think so.
Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston. So with Sam Houston now officially to the FBS level, there are now 13 teams in the state of Texas that play at the FBS level of college football. Sam Houston State, the latest, or they don't like to be called state anymore. It's just Sam Houston. Just call them Sam Houston down there in Huntsville. So that all happened. And of course, next year on July the 1st, the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners will officially join the Southeastern Conference in July 1 of 2024.
I got to believe Yormark is making himself getting ready for a basketball maneuver.
Brett Yormark?
Yeah.
We'll
He's going to basketball this thing.
Well, that'll
into
be
its
a huge
own.
conversation one
Yeah.
week from today at the Big 12 Media Days. Is remember one of the big stories of the weekend that we're coming out of and into is the San Diego State situation. Remember, San Diego State informed the Mountain West Conference they were leaving the conference, and now, kind of like George Costanza in a classic episode of Seinfeld, they want back in. They're like, "Oh no, we didn't. Did we really? We didn't quit. We didn't quit."
Hey, we have no place to go.
Which, again, I think they were dropping out to try to join the Pac-12, and now the Pac-12's in limbo still because they don't have a media rights deal. And there's a lot of people, including yours truly, who believe the Pac-12 is about to crumble because I think Colorado and Arizona are looking elsewhere, which would be Big 12. I think the Big 10 is waiting on the opportunity to add Oregon, Washington, maybe Stanford to go with USC and UCLA, and that's pending. Yeah, so the Mountain West, as a conference, claims that San Diego State has already left. Now, San Diego State, and they owe an exit fee. And San Diego State saying, no, we didn't leave. We don't
Whoa.
owe all this money. What do you mean?
Got a fee to pay too?
What do you mean?
Did they have a place to go?
I think they were trying to make
thinking-
themselves available to the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 was trying to add schools way too late. It was the Big 12 who acted quickly when Texas and Oklahoma bolted, and they, went and added Central Florida and Cincinnati and, the schools that have joined
They had
Houston.
a dream out there in the Pac that they were going to be a part of the Pac-12.
And, but it's been widely reported. It's not just me saying it, that Brett Yormark and the Big 12 have had conversations with Colorado, and they've had conversations with the leaders at Arizona. And they are certainly interested in adding, to have those schools added when officially Texas and Oklahoma depart. That instead of dropping back to 12 teams.
Well,
they
if there was
get to
anybody
16.
hesitating, then San Diego would jump right in on
Yes.
that chance. So if anybody hesitates to come to the Big 12.
I mean, if you read between the lines of the San Diego State story, they were trying to make themselves available to the Pac-12, but the Pac-12 hasn't invited them yet. So now to the date that you have to pay this exit fee, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well,
sorry, we
I
don't
don't think we
have
meant that. We really didn't mean it." And so there's a big meeting coming up on July 17th where they're going to try to decide how this plays out. Do we want them back in the Mountain West? Mountain West saying you owe us all this money. Oh yeah, that is a George Costanza level mess there. But I do think it all plays in line with the Pac-12 and its dysfunctionality right now. That I guess it doesn't have a media rights deal that everyone will agree to because the rights are not enough. And Brett Yormark and the Big 12, next week is our Big 12 media days, and I think there's be a lot of questions about what's coming there.
I don't think there'll be a question about what they're trying to do in basketball with Houston joining and Cincinnati.
Well, Brett Yormark has made no secret that he would like to make the Big 12 the like the SEC is in football, make that the Big 12 that in basketball, and have a dominant basketball conference that they can sell as a package itself. Like just sell the basketball package to a network or a streaming service to get the rights to Big 12 basketball and make it its own revenue stream and entity that's powerful. And of course, when you already have the likes of Kansas, and here comes Houston, and I mentioned the Jayhawks, but there's some talks with Gonzaga. There's been talks with UConn on the East Coast, who just won the national championship. So, yes, a lot could come out next week at Big 12 Media Days. At least he'll be asked about it because Brett Yormark will be there making the rounds and be a lot of people asking him those questions. In addition to the 4 new schools and, what's coming, but also what's to come will be a big question for the leader of the Big 12, who's been very aggressive since taking over for
Yes, he has.
Which I think is a good thing. Hey, let's get to the headlines, the other trending topics of your busy Wednesday morning as you launch your work week. UBO Business Services. We'll get more of this in our Coaches Corner coming up. But Texas football, Steve Sarkisian and the Horns kept the recruiting fireworks going yesterday on Independence Day as they added their 5th commitment in the last 6 days for the class of 2024. Houston Langham Creek tight end Jordan Washington is the latest name to commit to the Longhorns. He chose Texas over Alabama, Texas A&M, and Arizona State. 6'4", 225-pound senior to be joins 4 Metroplex area commitments in the last several days. North Richland Hills offensive lineman Daniel Cruz was the first last Thursday. Lucas Lovejoy, 4-star wide receiver Parker Livingstone committed to Texas on Saturday. Duncanville offensive lineman and Longhorn legacy Alex January committed over the weekend as well. And the other being IMG Academy defensive back Jordan Johnson Rubel. He is a Fort Worth native. They all committed since July 1st, bringing the Longhorns 2024 recruiting class to 12 pledges so far. Also a developing story on that recruiting front. 24/7 Sports projected yesterday that 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo from St. Louis, Missouri, will become the Longhorns' 13th commitment potentially in the class of 2024 that Wingo is leaning towards Texas. He's 6'2", 205, a top 25 national receiving prospect. Big recruiting news from College Station yesterday as well. Texas A&M earned the commitment from 5-star wide receiver Cameron Coleman from Phoenix City, Alabama. 6'3", 180-pounder gives Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies their 7th blue-chip commitment in the past 2 weeks. NBA free agency, the period opened on Saturday, right ahead of Saturday and Friday into Saturday. Since Saturday, teams in the league have handed out nearly $2 billion in new contracts. That includes the Dallas Mavericks, who re-signed their point guard Kyrie Irving on a new 3-year deal. The Rockets inked former Toronto star Fred VanVleet to a huge 3-year contract. Houston also signed former Memphis forward Dylan Brooks. And out of Portland, the Trailblazers star guard Damian Lillard has officially requested a trade out of the Great Northwest. Multiple reports indicate he wants to go to the Miami Heat. Early word that the Blazers are working to make that deal happen. Baseball. coming out of their 3-out-of-4 series win in Arlington over the weekend against the Rangers. Banged-up Houston Astros suffered their latest injury blow yesterday when Jose Altuve was hurt during batting practice. Undisclosed what the injury is. He was scratched from their lineup yesterday in their series opener with Colorado, but Houston plowed through and beat the Rockies 4-1. Rookie Gray Kessinger hit his first career home run. Fellow rookie Corey Julks had a 4-hit day to lead the Astros to the win. Brandon Bielak was really good on the mound. First place Rangers, they regrouped with a series opening win in Boston 6-2. Mitch Garver hit a 3-run homer. Dane Dunning pitched 6 solid innings. Texas still owns a 3-game lead over Houston in the AL West. And how about the LA Angels yesterday? Lost 3 of their best players to injury. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Also, Anthony Rendon, their third baseman, all got hurt. It was Mike Trout suffering a broken hamate bone, swinging the bat there in his hand. He'll be out several weeks. Shohei Ohtani's dealing with a blister on his pitching hand, and Rendon was hurt as well. The 3 highest-priced Angels all hurt on the same day. Yeah, that was not good for the LA Angels.
No, that's a bad day. That's a very, very bad day. And how in the heck does Texas A&M have a quarterback in the fold that is an unbelievable quarterback?
A&M?
Or
they've got the 5-star kid from Houston last year, Connor Weigman, who is likely to be the starting quarterback this year for Texas A&M. He finished up last year, looked good, looked the part of a top-end quarterback. Is that how
they're getting these top wide receivers too? Also, I mean, they've got 2 of the tops in the country going there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe
they already have Evan Stewart, the kid who was the top receiver in the state of Texas last year.
And you get him to quit smoking weed.
No, Jimbo's got to get a lot of things.
Yeah, he's got to get a lot straight. But I mean, organized. To get 2 more wide receivers, I was thinking maybe they've already recruited somebody that's in the fold ready to go for the next couple of years.
Well, Weigman is their Quinn Ewers, right? Quinn, he's 5 stars, big time player.
He'll be a sophomore, correct?
Yeah, and Max Johnson is still there, but most people who follow the Aggies would tell you if Weigman doesn't win the job, something's wrong. Because we know what Max Johnson is.
Right.
We saw him at LSU. We saw him last year at Texas. He's a good backup. He's exactly what you want in that position.
Sure.
But at the same time, Weigman's the 5-star kid with the high ceiling. Again, if he doesn't end up your starting quarterback, and coming out of according to Jimbo Fisher, there wasn't a lot of separation coming out of spring. A lot of people thought Max Johnson outplayed Weigman in the spring, but again, everybody expects Weigman to be the guy. But yes, Jimbo Fisher's brought in Bobby Petrino. I mean, that's one of the most interesting storylines of college football this year is how that goes. That's one of those things that Jimbo Fisher's called his own plays for so long. Remember with Tom Herman? Is he calling the plays or not? Who's calling the plays? I think you could have that scenario with Bobby. And Bobby Petrino's a hard-headed guy, too. He's not coming in there to not call the plays and run the offense. And
he's not there just to be the coordinator of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, but so we'll see how those two. If everything's going good and A&M's scoring points, then it'll be good. If things start to falter, that's when it faltered for Tom Herman here in Austin. Like, I mean, who's actually calling these plays? That became a debate for him at times. And so that is going on with the recruiting on
they need
football front. For
them offensively, they need to recoup a little bit. They need to have a decent year. I don't think they're a 10-win team or a 9-win team. They may be 8 wins, but they need to recoup East from some of the crap that happened to their football team altogether.
Oh, they had issues across the board off the field. It felt like Jimbo Fisher lost control of that locker room last year.
He has to get control of his team.
Correct.
They'll figure it out offensively.
By the way, in the game with the Angels, 44% of their 40-man payroll left the game with injuries, as far as the money goes. Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and Shohei Ohtani, those 3 combined to make about $100 million on the Angels' payroll. All got hurt after the 8th inning in their game yesterday. That's not good. But promise you, the Houston Astros aren't going to feel sorry for anybody right now because they suffered a Jose Altuve injury that, if you heard Dusty Baker yesterday before their game with Colorado, it didn't sound good. I mean, you can tell Dusty's just tired of guys getting hurt. He's like, geez, Louise, another injury? You can't keep anybody in their lineup at this point, and pitching staff's been beat up. They also, by the way, the Astros ruled that Michael Brantley shut down. Like they're not even,
Does he actually play for them?
It's a story because it keeps being talked about, but no, I don't expect to see Michael Brantley with that surgically repaired shoulder anytime soon. We kind of thought the same with Lance McCullers. He's going to have another operation. He won't come back this year. You already lost Luis Garcia. It's not good. with the Houston injuries. So Rangers look like the healthiest team. They lost Jacob deGrom, but other than that, the Rangers are sending 6 to the All-Star game. The entire infield are Rangers essentially next week in Seattle. So they look like the team to beat in that division, and that was not good news for the Angels yesterday. Hey, let's dive into our Coach's Corner. First time this week on a Wednesday. Let's hit it.
Here's a coaching tip. It's now Shark. They don't have Shark Week. They have Shark Month, like Pride Month. They have Shark Month.
Yeah.
Don't go in there with them. No matter how the numbers that they tell you that sharks, your chances of being bit by a shark are like being hit by lightning. Don't do that. Don't go in there with them. That's their home, E. There's no reason for you to be in their home.
That's where they live.
Yeah, I don't invite them to my house.
Not a big ocean guy.
No.
I'm trying to think where I saw the video. There was people were swimming, and you see this fin. It looked like something out of a movie. Where was that? I saw that on the news last night. Like, oh man, get me out of here. Don't need sharks up in here. Hey Buck, yesterday Joey Chestnut ate 62 hot dogs in 10 minutes. 18,414 calories in 10 minutes. 18,000. That's all. But Joey Chestnut is now the most dominant professional eater of all time. He's won that event 16 out of the last 17 years. So
his insides are not normal like ours.
Can't be.
Right?
It's incredible that he's like in shape.
Joey Chestnut also, he trains for this. Like we can joke about it.
Oh no, I'm sure he just doesn't wake up in the morning and start
I don't call him a professional
slamming.
athlete, but he's an eater. He eats at the highest level of anyone. He also owns the record for most hard-boiled eggs eaten, 141 in 8 minutes.
Oh, that was Cool Hand Luke.
Glazed donuts. Think about eating glazed donuts. He ate 55 glazed donuts in 8 minutes at one point, this dude.
My teeth would start falling out.
I'm going to run through this. You tell me which one would be the most difficult. I think glazed donuts is the winner, but pulled pork sandwiches, he ate 45 in 10 minutes. Taco Bell soft shell tacos, once ate 53 in a 10-minute period.
Now, when he gets to the hard shell, now we're talking.
Big Macs at McDonald's, Big Macs ate 32 in 38 minutes.
And he's not dead. The guy dude is still alive. That'll do it right there.
This is one I might be able to do. 25 and a half ice cream sandwiches in 6 minutes.
No,
I love
that's
ice cream
tough.
sandwiches. Those are good. That's a lot of sugar.
25?
Wouldn't you just go into like anaphylactic shock at
right
some point
there.
with all that sugar? Pepperoni rolls, like at Double Dave's, 43 in 10 minutes. He's the man. This guy is like the Jack Nicklaus of eating.
They just keep paying him, right?
Yes.
Does he do anything for free?
Yes. I don't know. He makes money. He wins the prize money, which isn't a ton. But as we said, he's got all these endorsement deals. He's making like $500,000 a year in endorsements.
And I've seen videos where he'll go out to those restaurants that have like food challenges.
And just slap people around.
Well, you could try to challenge him, but that'd be like trying to play Tiger Woods at his prime in golf. You know what I'm saying? You're just not going to win. He's going to humiliate you.
You remember that show, Man vs. Food?
I remember it. I don't think I ever watched it.
Really? That guy was not an athlete, and he failed like almost every time.
But he tried to win food challenges at restaurants?
Yeah, he would go across the country, different food challenges, but I'm pretty sure he had to stop because he was having some health issues.
Yeah, Some people are going to have health issues with that.
He was a little bit of a bigger, rounder fella.
Well, looking at Joey Chestnut, he's in pretty good shape. So outside of his competitions, he eats probably pretty normally.
Look at Kobayashi. When he was in his prime, he was like 120 pounds.
I just don't know how you train for that. Somebody can tell me, but I don't know.
You got to eat. I think you got to expand. You got to eat
like
that
a
much
marathon.
food a lot. You got to expand your stomach.
You don't just run 26 miles.
It's like the opposite of lap band surgery.
You got to expand your stomach and have it, and you got to be able to eat really fast. I mean, you're just inhaling food essentially. And it's not just about the quantity of food; it's how quickly that he's doing it.
Got to be a hell of a swallower.
Oh my gosh! Well, we learned while you were out last week that Ty was a professional beer guzzler, and it's great. He probably still is, but he's not as prime
I busted it out this weekend.
You busted it back again?
Yeah.
He brought it back. Oh, that's too good. Yeah, he's undefeated as a beer shotgunner.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time.
Do you do the?
No one's ever beaten you?
Well, I prefer if you.
Can you
just
do a picture? Just stick it up there and just go at it.
Aggie style.
Yeah.
I used to tear all my friends from A&M. I used to challenge them, be like, "Oh yeah, because they do the ring dunk there," and I was like, "I bet I can do it faster than you." And this is your thing in College Station.
Awesome.
I prefer out of a cup though, but shotgunning. Yeah.
Shotgunning a pitcher of beer.
Oh man. Okay, well, there you go. Hope your breakfast is going down smoothly today to get your work week underway on this Wednesday, 5 July. We mentioned the Longhorns active on the recruiting trail. Could be more to come. I would say this for Steve Sarkisian in our coach's corner. We'll pick this up coming up, but there's certainly a plan, right? They take their time, they're deliberate, and then June comes and they try to bring these big recruiting weekends where the staff gets to really roll out the carpet and then make their case with a lot of time with the family. And past 2 summers, this is when the majority of the class comes in, is July, after their 2 big recruiting weekends. And obviously last year was Arch Manning, which led to just a slew of commitments that followed Arch. And this year they're up to 12 now. There's reports of a potential 13 with the kid Ryan Wingo from St. Louis, the wide receiver. So we'll keep you posted. But Sark and his staff certainly have a plan on the recruiting trail of how they're going to operate. And, and the other thing that we know with Sark is they're willing to go coast to coast and get in battles with anybody for any of the top players. They don't mind mixing it up. And that's probably a good thing when you're headed into the Southeastern Conference, which is, the Longhorns have had the number 1 recruiting class in the Big 12 like every year for a long time, and that hasn't led to wins. If you look at their ranking right now, Buck, in the SEC, it's like 8th.
Yes.
Now they're joining a conference where that's where the top 10 recruiting classes are every year. Georgia and Alabama, Texas A&M.
Plus, there are a bunch of them that win.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's everything you do has to improve and continue to improve when you join that conference. That's obvious. And that's why this football season, which is now 59 days away, becomes so important. You got to prove you can win, right?
Or you will be like 8th and 7th in Mississippi State and Mississippi. That's
right.
where you'll be.
That's exactly right. No doubt about that. So we'll pick that up on the other side. Also, props to Austin FC. They didn't beat Inter Miami on Saturday, but I do think everything I've read about the hiring of Rodolfo Burrell as their sporting director to replace Claudio Reyna is a home run hire. We'll talk about that coming up, of what their new, essentially, if you don't, in soccer, this would be the equivalent of your general manager.
Mm-hmm.
This is your, you have a coach who runs the soccer team, but runs the whole operation. They have brought in Rafael Burrell. They have announced that on Friday. And remember, today is July 5th. That's when the transfer window period opens. Yep. Remember, every other major league around the world is off now. Only the MLS is playing soccer right now, which is why you'll see transfers in July, because all the other leagues are done. So if players want to move from another league in the world to the MLS, now is the time to do it. So that's why they wanted to get Rafael Burrell in place for this window. So this is the team in Austin FC that most expect them to be pretty active here in this transfer market.
Yeah, they still need a spark. They're still kind of blah.
Yeah, there could be movement, and they wanted the general manager in place to be able to oversee any moves that are made here in the coming days and weeks, because the window opens today around the world. All right, we'll come back and hit that. Also on the football side of things, eating side of things, baseball side of things, we're loaded on a Wednesday. It's Beanie. QC Kinetics, folks, helping folks find the relief they seek for their chronic pain. That's really what it's about. That's the bumper sticker. Chronic pain, you're dealing with it. How do you get to relief without undergoing surgery? QC Kinetics has the answer for you. I promise you, it is regenerative medicine. This isn't a masking agent like the pain pills and the steroid injections you're currently using to try to stem the pain a little bit and avoid the going under the knife. No. QC Kinetics uses regenerative medicine. This is the ability and the treatments that use your body's own healthy blood cells, highly concentrated, and then injected into that area to promote the healing. Your body will heal itself, but for these chronic injuries in your knees or your hips or your lower back, your shoulders, you have to promote it. You've got to do something to activate your body to heal itself. That's what this is. And it does work. There are successful testimonials from across Austin, across the country, for folks who have been in pain and now aren't. They've found the relief that they're seeking in their knees. They're back to being the active person they want to be. And again, this is the least invasive way. If you decide to go undergo surgery, you've got a long recovery period. You don't know how long that's going to take. Is it gonna work? You don't know. These work, and they will tell you why. And as I say with QC Connects, all you have to do is book that no obligation free consultation to learn more. Start with that step on your way to stepping pain-free potentially down the road. Get in there and see them. 593-4303 is the phone number. That's 593-4303 at QC Kinetics. That gets you on the first step in to meet with them, their medical pros, and find out how this works and why it works. And then you make the decision from there at one of their 2 locations, one in Austin, one in Round Rock. Call today. You can set up that appointment. They'll have you in by the end of the week, certainly early next week, to meet and talk about your future and a pain-free future at that. The relief you're seeking at QC Kinetics, 512-593-4303. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. There's a picture that went viral over the weekend that I think Longhorn football fans had a lot of thoughts about. We'll talk about that coming up. Also, thanks to those who let me know. I mentioned the Netflix docuseries they purchased, $50 million for the story of Jerry Jones. And I opined, was it going to be kind of a follow him for the season? No, it's actually going to be detailing his scrapping together all of his nickels to buy the Dallas Cowboys in the late 80s and then the 90s run with the 3 Super Bowls and the falling out with Jimmy Johnson. That's going to be the documentary, apparently, that it's not about the now, it's about the what, the past. Much like for Michael Jordan and the Bulls, it was about the final year, right, the last year run, but it documented the entire course of Michael Jordan's rise to the greatest player of all time. That, of course, docuseries was a huge hit, and Netflix is banking that this one can be that.
This
too.
won't be up on Harry Hines or anything like that.
No, well, Jerry Jones is what do you need? Interesting characters. He's as interesting as they get, and his buying of the Dallas Cowboys. And remember, I'm sure we'll learn because I've had conversation with Craig Way. You've heard Craig talk about the buying of the Cowboys. That Jerry Jones, one of the reasons there were other people trying to buy the Cowboys,
right,
and he was not the highest bidder to buy the Dallas Cowboys, but one of the stipulations for the owner selling the Cowboys was you had to fire Tom Landry. I'm not selling you this team unless you're going to fire Tom Landry because he's got to go. And all the other ones are like, I'm not firing Tom Landry. I'm not going to buy this team and
Jerry
fire
said,
Tom
"I'll do
Landry.
it."
And Jerry's like, I'm in.
I got
Sign
him.
me up.
I got him.
I'll fire that dude while he's on the golf course in Austin.
I got that dude.
Classy? I don't need class. I'll fire the guy. I need
No.
Jimmy Johnson up in here, my former college teammate. So, yeah, I can't wait to see that. So, Netflix is starting that docu-series. And the streaming service is paying $50 million for the project. Does that go to Jerry? I keep reading that they're paying. What is that? They're paying him for it? That's what they're.
Netflix is playing him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming, right?
I think they're paying NFL Films for it.
Well, I'm sure Jerry's getting a big cut of that.
I'm sure NFL Films paid him, and now they're.
Well, remember that
selling
Michael
it to
Jordan.
Netflix.
Michael Jordan owned the rights to all of that footage that was used to make the movie, and so it was until his approval was given that they could make that's why it took so long to make the Michael Jordan docu-series.
Well, it was done for a while, right? They were just waiting on his.
Well, he had a
approve
final
it.
approval.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder if Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones is going to have to provide and approve them to use a lot of footage that he has the rights to, I'm assuming. But yeah, so that's interesting. That came out over the weekend as well. Hope you had a great 4th of July, celebrating our nation's birthday yesterday on Independence Day. A lot coming out of it. Baseball, football, and the picture I mentioned, I don't know, I'm sure you saw it, Buck. The 5 quarterbacks, the quarterback room at Texas in the weight room. You see this picture,
Yeah, I
Ty?
did. I saw that over the weekend.
Okay, so when you say a picture is worth 1,000 words, there's just a lot of thoughts that come to your mind. It's a picture of the Texas 5 quarterback. They all are in gym shorts, and their shirts are off, and obviously they've been working out. And they all flexed for the camera, and there they are. So initial thoughts, Quinn Ewers has rebuilt his body. He looks to be in great shape as a quarterback, right? Arch Manning, I mean, that guy works out. I mean, he's got 12-pack. He's got the Rod Babers 12-pack from when Rod Babers was playing cornerback on the 40 acres. He's looking good. And Malik Murphy looks like a defensive end.
Dude, looks like Terminator.
I mean, come on. I mean, this dude is – put him on the edge.
He's got some tree trunks for legs.
I know. I mean, you know, if reports are true and Arch Manning is literally 6'4", well, that would tell you that Malik Murphy's probably 6'7" right now. At least 6'6" and a half. Because they're standing in a line, and Malik Murphy's on the far left, and he's kind of standing to his side. And he's got this shotgun of a right arm. Yeah. That guy. If you said, okay, which one of these guys is your defensive end, you'd say, oh, that's that guy. No, he's your backup quarterback. So, you know, and Quinn is, you know, slimmed down, and he looks to be in good shape too. He's cut his hair. He's cut his hair, and obviously we would agree that the ceiling for this Texas football team this year, it's injuries, and then it's the ceiling at quarterback and how good Quinn Ewers can be. Well, if those dudes are pushing you, I think you better be on point.
The rest of you better be in good shape then, if your quarterbacks are looking like that.
I got to think there are NFL personnel looking at Malik Murphy going, who is that monster?
Where has he been?
What? That's a quarterback? Are you kidding me? Yeah, and your man Arch Manning, he's in good shape. He's in better shape than his uncles.
Well, yeah, he's built a little different than those dudes.
Yeah, and you know,
they played with dad bods.
Well, you know, Arch, we know, kind of like Ty over there, likes to go out on the lake on the boat. With,
there you go.
Michael Taff and those guys. He likes to get out there. So
they want to look good.
Want to look good. Want to look good. So that in the middle, that's the kid from Austin High, correct?
Charles Wright.
Charles Wright. And I don't know who the fourth guy is.
I think that's the kid from Hyde Park.
Okay. Thank you very much. Those are your 5 quarterbacks at Texas. I'll retweet that picture. But it was Malik Murphy, who's, by the way, his Twitter account is SMV Operator, Smooth Operator.
Yeah, you know what?
He's the one that
they're
tweeted
looking
the
like Tarzan, but who are they going to play like?
Well, that's the question. That's the question. But yeah, Malik, that's the biggest impression is that dude is big, because Arch Manning is 6'4", right? So you start with him, and Malik Murphy looks down on him at a lot of levels. That's a big dude. So that was a cool picture that dropped over the weekend. Longhorn football, 59 days out. That game with the Rice Owls, Big 12 Football Media Days, is in 1 week. Wednesday and Thursday of next week up at, speaking of Jerry Jones, Cowboys Stadium in Arlington is where it will come.
Yeah, that group right there would have a good pose off against other quarterbacks. Well, quarterback rooms, I would think.
Stetson Bennett would lose. Does Stetson Bennett have his degree yet from Georgia? Did we get that done? So. Come on, man. He was there 7 years. Let's get a degree up in here.
School up in here.
Oh, yeah. Well, There you go. So that is Longhorn football news. The recruiting trail busy with, I think the biggest name that committed, Daniel Cruz was a big one last week. You were on your birthday, he committed, Buck. He's an offensive lineman who I think that Kyle Flood, the Longhorn offensive line coach, projects as his center of the future. Here's the one thing about Daniel Cruz. North Richland Hills, which is kind of a suburb between Fort Worth and Arlington, he has started at a 6A at a big high school since his freshman year.
Yes, he started and been a starter.
So he's advanced in his technical skills of the offensive line. He's kind of grown into his body. And, a guy that is that intelligent and understands the techniques of offensive line, the leverage of offensive line to that level, that's somebody that Kyle Flood coveted and got Daniel Cruz to commit last week. And then there's the Lucas Lovejoy, 4-star wide receiver Parker Livingstone. Another one of these receiver additions. Longhorn legacy Alex January, who plays at that Duncanville school. That's important because Steve Sarkisian and the staff continue to do very, very well in South Dallas. Duncanville, South Oak Cliff. Those schools, you've got to do well. In the state of Texas, in that area, and the Longhorns are building a pipeline into South Dallas. That's some of the most fertile recruiting territory in the country, and the Longhorns doing well there. And then the IMG Academy defensive back Jordan Johnson-Rubel is a 4-star safety. He committed, and he's a kid from Fort Worth originally who's going to play his senior season at the IMG Academy. So the class is now 12.
Yeah, they're starting to make Florida one of their fertile recruiting grounds too right now.
I think that's the third player from IMG who have committed to Texas in this cycle.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to go back to the Charlie Strong days where that's all we were recruiting was for Florida. But.
Well, Charlie was going to bring his strengths, right? Those were
and that's where he
strongest recruiting ties outside of, and Charlie never, he tried to build Texas recruiting ties that. That was a challenge for him to get ground within the high school coaches in the state of Texas. But Sark seems to have found that. And, they're recruiting nationally. They'll go coast to coast to recruit what they need to. And that's a good thing when they're heading into the SEC.
And believe me, Sonny Dykes does not like Texas up in TCU area, up in there at Arlington and Fort Worth area, which there are a lot of prospects there.
That South Dallas I-20 corridor, geez Louise, and all you got to do is watch the state championship games every year.
That's right.
At the different levels. They've got some dudes. And obviously the biggest of those names out of South Dallas is Colin Simmons, the pass rusher who will play his senior year at Duncanville this year. He's the state's best player, and there are a lot of people who believe he is a Texas lean, that he is leaning Texas. Now, again, other fans of other programs will say the same, I think, but there's a lot of belief within even the independent recruiting analysts that say that Colin Johnson – the Longhorns have made him their Arch Manning of this cycle, right?
Colin Simmons, you mean?
Colin Simmons, yes. Arch Manning was the number one focus of last year. Colin Simmons is
for sure.
And the question now, as we're into July, is will these kids commit before they? They're either going to commit before they start fall practice, and once the fall practices begin in August and the two-a-days and that stuff, most kids are going to focus on their senior year and lock it in, and they'll commit after the season's over. And a lot are finding that because we're going to make runs into the state playoffs, and that butts right up into the early recruiting window, that let's just get this thing out of the way. If I know now, let's just do it. Like Arch Manning did last year, like these 12 are doing right now, that let's just make this happen. And that's the uncertainty of Colin Simmons from Duncanville is, does he do it before fall camp begins?
Because they'll go deep.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yes, they are one of the teams favored to go very, very deep in the high school football playoffs. So we will follow that as it develops through July. 1 week from today will be the Big 12 Football Media Days. 7 teams each day, the Wednesday and Thursday of next week, the Longhorns' final season in the Big 12 Conference.
Awesome.
So, and as we told you, we will not be up there live, but the entire rest of the Horn staff will be up there live. And the only reason we aren't going up is because there's nothing happening in the mornings. The Big 12 has announced that media days and all the interviews and players and coaches will begin about lunchtime. So it'll run from like noon to 7.
These guys aren't getting up early, Ty. Need to be there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Nope.
Well, I think it makes sense to get it more on primetime windows within ESPN and the cable news, right? Noon to 7 is kind of how they're going to do it, right through drive time, which means if we were to go up for the 2 days, we'd be sitting in an empty building and there wouldn't be much happening for our 4 hours of coverage. So we'll just sit back and we'll have great guests. We'll have full coverage of Big 12 Football Media Days from Austin, but at the same time, Light the Tower, Zay and Chad, and of course, Ball Don't Lie will be up there live all morning and all afternoon, bringing you the sights and sounds of Big 12 football media
Yeah,
days.
Zay and Chad will be up there the whole day. I mean, that would go from 12 to 7. won't
Harge and
they?
Rod. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Harge and Rod will be there, too, and locking it in with great conversations, interviews with the 4 new teams. And I should mention that Texas has announced who they are taking to Big 12 football media days, and it kind of gives you an early indication of who the leadership on this team is, right? If the coach is going to take them to meet the assembled media, you kind of know where you're going. The Longhorns are, not surprisingly, for the first time, though, since Sam Ehlinger, taking a quarterback, and that'll be Quinn Ewers. Quinn's going to be there, and he'll be a much-talked-to player. Jalen Ford, of course, the leader on defense at middle linebacker. Xavier Worthy will be going. Jade Barron and Jordan Whittington. Those are your 5 Longhorns that will be taking in Big 12 media next week, along with Steve Sarkisian, X-Man, Quinn Ewers. Wonder if they're still roommates. We'll find that out next week. Are they still? Remember, they were roommates last year.
Yep.
Jalen Ford, who middle of your defense, has to be kind of the centerpiece. That's a guy I said last week, Buck, is probably the most indispensable Longhorn defensive player. You don't want anybody to get injured. But that's a guy that that's the heartbeat of your defense, and the drop off between him and what you would have behind him, pretty steep. That guy needs to stay healthy this year for the Longhorns. He was such a big play and big play maker for the Longhorns last year. And Jade Barron, Longhorns believe, is going to emerge as that very deep secondary now.
I think it's very deep.
And then, of course, Jordan Whittington, who made the decision to come back and wants to lead that wide receiver room, along with X-Man and Isaiah Nair and A.D. Mitchell. But those are your 5. You only take 5 Longhorns. Those are the 5 that are going. We're looking forward to that next week. All right, we'll come back. We'll pick it up with the hot or not topics, including it's a national day that we all like. It's also, you see the video of the multiple people stuck upside down on a roller coaster? This was frightening. We'll get you details. You were talking about sharks earlier.
Dude, I saw the one roller coaster that had, and the pillar was cracked.
Ooh. I'll get you details on this and for how long they were upside down. That's coming as well. It's B&E on a busy Wednesday. It is hot and not on this Wednesday, already to midweek now to start your work week for a lot of folks who enjoyed the 4-day weekend as we did. It's great to be back with you and recapping the weekend that was, including today, Buck, July 5th is National Bikini Day. Maybe you saw some bikinis over the weekend. Ty?
Yeah.
Couple few?
Few.
You were out on the boat this weekend, were you not?
Party Cove.
Party Cove. Ooh, Party Cove. One of these days to be young and single like Ty over there. Party Cove.
I did not see any bikinis. Only the ones I saw on Shark Week.
Went to our neighborhood
New
pool.
York beaches, and people are scrambling out of there.
We did the annual 4th of July neighborhood pool burgers and dogs thing, so saw a few bathing suits yesterday for sure. Did not see Joey Chestnut win the hot dog eating contest. Somebody said you guys know that he throws up right after every competition, like right after. I did not know this. Is this true? Like he just goes.
Well, you have to hold it in for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Or you're disqualified.
Well, I can understand that.
You're
Joey's
out.
got a big old snaggle tooth. He needs to see Dr. Eckert, too. He's got big old maybe that's the one he holds one hot dog in, holds it with that tooth while he eats the others.
We also had this important piece of information yesterday from the hot dog eating contest. The president of the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council.
Sausage.
There is such a thing. Says
Duck sausage?
Says unequivocally that no one over 18 should be putting ketchup on hot dogs.
Hey, now.
No
There
one
you
over
go.
18. He said if you put ketchup on your hot dog, it's criminal. It's criminal.
Just mustard and relish.
That's all I put on my hot dog.
He says, no, you're doing it wrong.
Oh,
Then you're doing it wrong. Ketchup is for French fries,
there you
not
go.
hot dogs. And I know people who put ketchup on their eggs. Patrick Mahomes puts ketchup on his steak. Now, that's criminal. That is criminal. This is criminal, too. How about this? You're not a big fan of the thrill rides, the roller coasters?
No.
In Wisconsin, 8 passengers were left stuck upside down on a roller coaster for several hours because of a mechanical failure at the Forest County Festival. I saw a video of this on the news last night. This is horrifying. It's one of these little circle rides, and they're up on, like, in the oval.
And it stopped at the oval, right?
Stopped. Hanging. 3 hours.
Nah, I just let it loose and get it over with.
Dude, that would be just the patience to wait that out. And upside down so the blood's all rushing to your head.
Well, one dude filmed while he was going around one of a huge crack at a roller coaster, and you can see the whole thing move as the crack moved too. I mean, it was a monstrous crack. I mean, I don't know how they didn't see that way before that, but they shut that bad boy down. That's me. I'm the guy who's on the cracked roller coaster. You know, 1 in a gazillion. Can't hit the lottery, but I'm the guy on the roller coaster. Look, the crack.
The crack. Well, I'm sure Ty saw some cracks at the Party Cove.
I bet he did.
Oh, yeah.
On Bikini Day. Because now they wear them like right up there, man. It doesn't even matter.
Like
they don't cover anything. They just slide it up there. MovieWeb.com, Ty, put out a list of the 25 funniest movies ever made. 25. MovieWeb.com. And their top 10, number 1 on their list is Groundhog Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
That is horrible.
Is that possible?
I would think Caddyshack had to be in the top 5.
Caddyshack is 25 on their list.
What?
Yeah.
Step Brothers on there?
I'm just going to give you the top 10. We'll go through more of this coming up.
Wow.
But how about Some Like It Hot, 1959? Never seen this film. Apparently it's very funny. It's number 2 on their list. Dazed and Confused with the great Matthew McConaughey, the Minister of Culture, number 3 on the list. The Princess Bride, 1987, is number 4. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, 1975.
The Piss Boy.
1974's Young Frankenstein is number 6. Anchorman, 2004 with Will Ferrell, number 7. Super Bad, 2007, number 8. Number 9, Dr. Strangelove. By the way, if you had told me that was a comedy, I wouldn't know that. And then 1940's Hey Girl. Hey Girl Friday.
Well, it's like Dazed and Confused is number 2 on there, and that's not a comedy.
Yeah. But it's
None
funny.
of that Chevy Chase. No Vacation.
Like Office Space is number 20 on the list. The Hangover is number 19. I will say that for movies I saw in a movie theater, The Hangover is as funny a movie I've ever seen. Because here's the one thing I knew about The Hangover. I hadn't seen any preview for it. I had no idea what we were walking into. And
That's
it was
the best.
And it was when it was just like literally like the Mike Tyson tiger scene and all that stuff. I hadn't seen any preview for this movie. So I was like, that was so funny.
That's hard to believe that's not a top 5er.
That's number 20. And number 18 is South Park, Bigger, Louder, and Uncut. Airplane is number 17, which that is as funny a film.
Oh, my goodness.
Every line is meant to make you laugh, and it usually does. Bridesmaids is in the top 20. What else do we have here? Something called Duck Soup. Yeah, so there you go. Those are your top.
Dr. Strangelove.
I'm out on that list.
No,
It was
I'm
a
not with that
Stanley
list either.
Kubrick film, Dr. Strangelove. All right, Ty, what do you have for us in Hot or Not on this Wednesday that feels like a Monday?
Have you ever seen Michael Rubin's? You know who that is, right? The owner of 76ers, Michael Rubin. He has a 4th of July party every year. Do you see this?
Michael Rubin. Okay, is it out in like Hollywood?
Maybe
it's in.
I think it's in like this. It's in the Hamptons.
Okay. Oh,
it's in the Hamptons, but
It's
the
not
reason
on Broad Street in Philly.
no, it's not. But he
is it the white party?
yes, he makes everyone wear white.
Okay.
And some of the biggest, like Tom Brady's there, Travis Scott, Ben Affleck, and J-Lo, Jay-Z,
Okay.
Dave Chappelle.
Ooh.
Are you hot? Like, what's the white? This seems like an Illuminati kind of get together to me here.
Well, they're all in white. Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures now. You know, looks
Maybe
like
it's
a fun
first
party.
Holy Communion for everybody.
Yeah. It's true.
I'm not hot on the white look though. I don't know.
It's just a color. It's a summer color. You know, what I'm
But
saying?
aren't you supposed to? What's the deal with Labor Day and white?
You can't wear it after Labor Day.
After Labor Day, you're all right.
Isn't that
You're
like
all right.
your shoes or something?
Yeah, they're all right. They're good.
I'm not a fashionista, but
Ooh, now I'm looking
Not
at
a fan.
Michael Rubin's house. Wow.
it looks like a pretty fun party.
yeah, yeah. Looks like something you'd see on Entourage or something. Yeah. Okay. Hot on it, fine. I wouldn't go. I don't think. I mean, I would never.
If
get
you were invited, you wouldn't go.
I would go
Yeah.
if I was invited, and my wife let me go. I'd go. I'd
So
be up in
You're
there.
assuming
My
to be going
wife
alone.
let me go.
Yeah,
Oh, this is.
I'd be up in there in all white.
I like it.
I'd be up there in a diaper if you asked me to go.
By the way, CB loves ketchup and mayonnaise on his hot dogs. That's a late
Ooh.
great Sean Adams grossness. Mayonnaise on hot dogs.
What's that cheese? That's like it's the Mexican, like it's like almost like powder koja.
Ooh, talking about like cheese whiz.
No, it's like I don't know. I don't know how to
Dude, I don't
pronounce
play
it.
with a hot dog.
They're
Just
throwing it
throw
on
the
there this
mustard on and
weekend.
go.
Very good.
I don't mind cheese on hot dog. A little cheese.
Cheese
Some
not
peppers?
bad.
I mean, I think some of my favorite hot dogs have chili and cheese on, like a chili cheese dog.
Ooh, yeah.
Those are dang good. Hey, we're talking food, football, baseball, all kinds of great stuff. We'll keep it going with you on a Wednesday. Glad to be back. Glad you're with us on B&E. Yeah, what a weekend. Trying to recap it all with you on this Wednesday. Get you caught up on what's gone on since we last spoke. And it's a lot. A lot of recruiting news on the football front. Baseball, Astros took 3 out of 4 in Arlington, but Jose Altuve now hurt for Houston as of yesterday. We'll talk plenty of MLB. How about in local golf? Congratulations to Nick Schaefer. Nick Schaefer, Buck, shot 15 under over 3 days and won the Firecracker down at Lyons Municipal over the weekend. How about him? 80 yards out on his final hole.
Holds it out.
Almost holed it out.
Isn't that cool?
But nearly went in, just tapped it in for a birdie, and he wins. And
I saw Ricky Fowler win a golf tournament.
He did in Detroit.
Rocket Mortgage,
Rocket
right?
Mortgage event, yeah.
He's a Rocket Mortgage guy.
And he's a big, that's one of those big sponsors.
Yep.
And so, yeah. First win he's had since 2019.
4
Ricky
years,
Fowler.
right?
He's been playing better. He's been trending in that direction.
That he has.
For sure, and he wins in Detroit over the weekend. Yeah, but the Firecracker, our man Nick Schaefer joins the likes of our friend Omar Uresti, Ben Crenshaw, Wes Short, J.L. Lewis, who have all won the Firecracker over its 77-year history. What a historic tournament that is. I found out last week from our friend Omar Uresti that they, for the first year, this year, they had, on a Friday, they had a champions dinner. Like they do at the Masters,
oh, really?
Where all whoever could make it, the returning champions would gather and have dinner, tell stories. And, I have not talked to Omar since that dinner took place, but I'll have to. I'm sure he could tell us some pretty cool tales from behind the scenes at the champions dinner at the Firecracker at Venerable Lions Muni right there in downtown Austin. Pretty cool spot.
Know me, I'm a Muni guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
I think you've played one Muni in the last decade, and it was just the other day.
Roy Kaiser.
Roy Kaiser.
Hell yeah, man. That thing was in great shape.
Roy Kaiser Municipal Country Club.
That was in great shape.
Love that place. Love that place.
Put a collar on you guys, please.
Also, it's one of the, we'll get to the headlines coming up, but in the NBA, the league and its teams have handed out nearly $2 billion. $2 billion. I think $1.5 billion was spent on new contracts within the first 12 hours or 18 hours of free agency. Most of them were re-signings, like re-upping with current teams. The only big
Draymond stayed, did he not?
Draymond stayed in Golden State. Chris Middleton stayed in Milwaukee. The big names stayed. I did like the signing of the Phoenix Suns with Eric Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric Gordon can help the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant and now Devin Booker and of course Bradley Beal now in Phoenix. That was a move.
And Chris Paul is where?
Golden State. Remember, he was part of the trade.
They haven't gotten rid of him yet?
They're keeping him.
They want him. They want him to replace Jordan Poole. Jordan Peele's the director. Jordan Poole is the basketball player. Yeah, they want him to be kind of a,
kind of an old ass man out there playing hoops.
They know he gets hurt a lot, but he's kind of a glue guy off the bench. Like Phoenix or Golden State's trying to make one last run, right, with the Splash Brothers, and
that's what I would say.
And Draymond back, and see if they can go get one more on the way to being done. But we'll see. Houston signed Fred VanVleet. I'll give you some numbers on Fred VanVleet coming up as an undrafted player. He may be the most accomplished undrafted player of all time. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And he's what Houston wanted. Houston was looking for a grown-up to go with all their kids, and he is that. Dylan Brooks also going to be a Rocket. That was obviously Kyrie Irving back to Dallas, and so that went down over the weekend.
As you say, the Golden State, I would think one more run. Would that be it? Will Steph Curry not? Will he always be a Golden State Warrior? I mean, will they never just let him go?
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere. He's not going to join up with anybody, correct?
Well, he's one of those guys you feel like you keep playing because he can always just shoot, right?
Oh, yeah.
He can be on any team. It's like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant doesn't have to be a primary ball handler. He can just stand out there and shoot the basketball.
If you can keep in shape. I mean, because his energy level is.
Oh.
I mean, you got to be always on the move. I know he can shoot, but he's got to move. But he's never going to some place to try to get another championship. No,
I don't think so.
Okay,
preserve your legacy there.
And if you because you were out last week, he lost to Patrick Mahomes and your guy Travis Kelce in the match, the golf, the head-to-head. They were unable. The Splash Brothers got beat, taken down. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he would ever. I mean, he feels like Golden State for life. Right?
Okay,
just like they would never let him leave. Could be wrong.
That's what I'm saying. They'd never let you leave.
No, a lot of people thought Draymond was going to leave once he opted out, but he just wanted them to make sure that Jordan Poole was gone. I'll come back if you get rid of that punk. Don't have to punch him out anymore.
He's got to go.
Don't have to punch his lights out anymore. Won't be doing that. But, so that was the NBA. They spent a lot of money spent. Then the big story is still yet to happen, and that, is Damian Lillard, that he wants to be traded. He's finally formally requested trade out of Portland, and they seem to be willing and amenable to making that happen. And when they do, the Miami Heat go from in the finals to a team that might be the best team, right? If they don't have to give up too much to get Dame Lillard to go with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and that team, and what they do with their head coach, that's a really, really good team in the East. Fred VanVleet, by the way, who signed with the Rockets, 3 years, $130 million, and that raised eyebrows that he made that much money on a per year basis. I will say this again, though, for Rockets fans and NBA fans, the Rockets had to spend $50 million in this free agency period to get to the salary floor of the NBA. We always say there's a salary cap in the NBA, but there's also a floor. You have to spend at least X amount. You can't just, you have to try to spend the money, and the players have guaranteed that with a cap and a floor. And so the Rockets had to go there. So if you're going to sign somebody, draft a guy who is a leader, the guy who brings his lunch pail to work every day. He's not going to be much drama with Fred VanVleet. He is a guard. And how about this? VanVleet is since being undrafted in 2016, he's made the All-Star game. He's won an NBA championship, highest paid undrafted player ever, and the first undrafted player to sign a $100 million contract. Hey, don't let him dash your dreams, Buck. Keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Keep going to work. I like that with him. That's the NBA of the weekend. Let's get to the other headlines of your Wednesday morning. Top Gun Equipment Rentals bring you the news. Yeah, Texas football. Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns keeping hot on the recruiting trail yesterday. The fireworks on Independence Day were there. Their fifth commitment of the last 6 days came in yesterday for the class of 2024, giving the Longhorns 12 pledges so far. The commitment yesterday was Houston Langham Creek tight end Jordan Washington, 6'4", 220-pound senior to be. Chooses Texas over Texas A&M, Alabama, and others. He joins 4 Metroplex area commitments in the last several days. Of course, before we're out of here, the North Richland Hills offensive lineman Daniel Cruz committed to Texas. Also over the weekend, Lucas Lovejoy, 4-star wide receiver Parker Livingstone, Duncanville defensive lineman Alex January, and IMG Academy defensive back Jordan Johnson-Rubel all committed to Texas since July 1. And their developing story on the recruiting front, 24/7 Sports is projecting that 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo out of St. Louis, Missouri, could become the Longhorns' 13th commitment. They've given the crystal ball pick for the Longhorns. He is a top 25 prospect in the class of 2024. Major League Baseball coming out of their 3 out of 4 series win in Arlington over the long weekend against the Rangers. Banged up Houston Astros suffered their latest blow yesterday. Their second baseman, Jose Altuve, suffered an undisclosed injury during batting practice, was scratched from their series opening lineup with the Colorado Rockies, and Houston plowed through, though. They got the win 4-1. They beat the Rockies. Gray Kessinger hit his first career home run. Fellow rookie Corey Julks had a 4-hit day, and Brandon Bielak was really good on the mound for Houston for 7 innings. First place Rangers, they opened their series in Boston with a 6-2 win. Mitch Garver hit a 3-run homer. Dane Dunning pitched 6 solid innings. Texas still owns a 3-game lead over Houston in the AL West. The LA Angels are now in 3rd place, and they had a heck of a day yesterday. On the bad luck side of things, Mike Trout was put on the injured list with a broken bone in his hand, a hamate bone, suffered that swinging the bat. Shohei Ohtani had to leave his start yesterday against the Padres with a blister on his pitching finger, and their third baseman Anthony Rendon fouled a ball off of his inside instep. He also left that game. No word on the severity of his injury. Well, every time. Saw Brandon Mars last week up in here. By the way, everybody told us, Ty, it's cojita cheese. Cojita cheese, which is an aged Mexican cheese.
Is that how you say it, though?
Yeah, cojita.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Cotilla? I think
Cotilla?
the J is...
Cotilla cheese.
I'll look it up.
Cotilla. So cotilla. Kotija. Are you saying you like this cheese?
It's good on hot dogs.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Kind of a white cheese?
Yeah, it's very crumbly. I did some corn on the cob, too. Put it on there. Some butter.
You put it on your corn, too?
A little tahini, yeah.
I will say there's no... I mean, blue cheese is my least favorite cheese by like a mile. That is so gross.
I don't like that from under.
Oh, from under your toes.
God. Toe jam cheese.
I mean, what stinks like blue cheese?
Oh,
it's awful.
Fritos.
Cotilla.
Stinky.
That's how you say it.
That's what I said. Cotilla.
Cotilla.
Cotilla. You got several people who have sent the pronunciation. Cotilla. Cotilla cheese. Thank you very much. Cotilla. Thank you. I like the pronunciation, lady. That's good. Cotilla. We also have from the movie front, the web movieweb.com with a list of the 25 funniest movies ever made. Did okay, but because they had Blazing Saddles in their top 25.
Oh, my goodness.
Got to have that. Airplane made the top 25. The Hangover. Friday is one I didn't mention that made their list of 25. But they left out Animal House. Come on now. Dumb and Dumber didn't make the cut. Borat didn't make the cut.
None of the Vacations, none of the Chevy Chase.
Oh,
none
man.
of those made it.
If you're looking for a good new movie to watch, it's not very funny, but Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Ooh, little war, feeling patriotic war movie.
It's good.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I got home at like 2 the other night, and I stayed up till like 4:30. I was just trying to throw something on to watch while I was going to sleep, and I ended up watching the entire thing.
What war is it based?
You came in a lot of times at 2 and 3 in the morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
Afghanistan is its base. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Covenant. Guy Ritchie. Okay. Cool.
What time were you getting up on those mornings?
Like 7.
Still get up at 7?
I'm like you now. I slept until like 11 one day.
Oh, you did an 11 o'clock sleep in, and still in the bed?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rolling around though, like not like waking up for the first time at 11.
Now you said for your whole time off you couldn't sleep past 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. I tried to do.
You were up here at like 6:30 one day.
I know. I tried to do like I always say I can make it till 8. I can't do it.
What time do you go to bed?
I still go to bed at 10. I mean, I'll go to bed at 10, 15.
That's a good 8 hours of sleep. That's what you need. 10 to 6.
Oh well, when
number.
you're a little older, yeah, doesn't hurt.
If you get good solid 8 hours, man, that's the goal for most people.
Yeah, but I'm also told how silly I am for getting up at 3:15 and 3 o'clock. But that's just my body deal now. It just you're up, you go, and once you're up, I don't hit any alarms. I don't have to hit. I mean, basically, I don't even have to set an alarm because I'll look over and say, well, you got it. It's this time. You got up. You went to pee at 1 something. So guess what amount of time you have left? And I don't have to get up. I don't have to have an alarm from that point on. I can still get up at 3:15. Just go. Yeah.
Well, with time off, typically we stay up later, which leads to a little bit of sleep. But I still wake up, and then I have to go back to bed if I want to try to sleep in, which I can do. I can do okay with that.
That doesn't mean I don't lay up on the couch at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, though. Get that time. Mm. Even though you're not
no naps over that whole break for me.
No naps?
No naps.
No, there's not been any golf on.
I didn't take any naps either. You're on because you sleep in. I take a nap on some days because I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and some days I need to get a little bit of shut up. If I can. But all right, so busy weekend trying to recap all that's gone on, including the Longhorns and their commitments. Aggies also having a good recruiting run as they landed a big receiver yesterday out of Phoenix, Alabama, going into Alabama territory and taking a top 5 receiver in the country for Jimbo Fisher. So
I don't think that dude even visited Alabama.
Which
you're home.
Yeah. Some people want to get out right when they're going on to play somewhere else. You can see that. And as we said, it's the big story of the week to come, I believe, will be the Damian Lillard story and where he lands. I mean, that's an impact move, right? If Bradley Beal to Phoenix, the Suns believe that there's not a lot of depth on that Phoenix team, but when you have those 3 superstars, you've got a chance. Miami adding Dame Lillard to go with Jimmy Butler, the defense they play, Bam Adebayo's emergence as a
Tyler Hero's still there too.
Well, there's a lot of thought he would be part of the trade. And am I right on that, Ty, that if he goes to Miami, they're going to need Tyler Hero to come back?
It'd probably be Tyler Hero, Hawkes Jr., who they just drafted, and probably like 3 or 4 first-round picks, maybe another piece. But if he's saying, like, that's where I want to go, so send me there.
Get everything for him.
Exactly.
And the others, I'd much rather have Damian Lillard, but James Harden is trying to get traded to the Clippers, and they're trying to make that work. Your 76ers aren't doing much.
No.
Yeah. So NBA, $2 billion, almost $2 billion in about 5 days, handed out. 4 days. Pretty good. Pretty good work if you can get it. Now it's not Bobby Bonilla. Well, it kind of is. It's Bobby Bonilla who got paid on July 1. His 1.1, almost 1.2 million he takes every year from the New York Mets and will until 2035.
35?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good day for him. July 1. That's when he starts taking his trips, honey.
That's when he starts taking those vacations, right? Just chills out, and then, okay, here's what I know. This is going right into direct deposit.
Yeah.
I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Forget, Bobby Bonilla made plenty of money before that contract playing baseball for the Pirates and then the Mets, and so he did okay. But, yeah, that's the mailbox money we're all seeking.
Yeah, he stuck the Mets a few times.
Well, he was a good player. Remember he was playing with Barry Bonds there in Pittsburgh way back, and switch hitter, really good player. But so Bobby Bonilla Day came and went. I was really, and Ty, I haven't asked your thoughts on the Ranger-Astros series because I did watch most of it, and I was surprised the Astros won 3 games. I think the one thing the Astros showed over the weekend is if they can get healthy, they will still be a factor because their big game experience just shows through. I mean, they love the spot. They love those moments. The big crowds, sellout crowds in Arlington. There was a playoff atmosphere to it, and the Astros won 3 of the 4 and found a way. That's something. I think the Rangers are still the more well-built and healthier team right now. Best offense in the game, best defense in baseball the Rangers own. Their starting pitching has been better than anybody could have expected. And the only game the Rangers won was the Nathan Eovaldi start on Saturday. Other than that, the Astros got him.
Yeah, it was, close games. I think I watched one of the games on Bally Sports. I've been at my dad's house. I've been lucky enough to actually watch the Rangers. But, relief pitching still worries me. Chapman came in.
Well, that was the big, and we will tell you, tip of our cap to Gene Watson. We had Gene Watson on the show on Friday to preview that series, and Gene was down in the Dominican Republic. That's where we talked to him from, and I said, well, what are you doing down there? He said, we're scouting. And then he had texted me after our visit and said, there's a 50-50 chance we make a deal with the Rangers today. And next thing you know, the Aroldis Chapman deal came down. And I texted Gene that evening and said, thanks for the tip, because we mentioned, Gene, there could be something brewing, because the Rangers need relief pitching. And Aroldis Chapman, give the Royals credit, they signed the 35-year-old left-hander to a pretty reasonable deal this offseason. There wasn't a big market for him. They brought him in, and he's had a great start to the season. And he's shown, getting back to his old form. And so they peddle him for 2 prospects, and Gene was in the Dominican looking at the 17-year-old prospect that was part of the deal. They wanted to get eyes on him to make sure that was what they wanted in return for Chapman. Obviously, the Rangers had set their attention on Aroldis. And, yeah, you're right, even in the 3 losses to Houston over the weekend, Aroldis pitched twice and looked great. I mean, he's throwing high 90s, and he looks like he's been in the gym, man. That dude looks to be in great shape at 35 years old.
He doesn't look like a Yankee.
He just needs to be consistent, which he wasn't all the time with the Yankees.
Well, and you wonder with the Rangers
especially at the end.
I mean, does he become their closer? Because in the series with the Astros, they were using him as the setup guy. And
they bring in Brock Burke, and he gets rocked. And Shorbs.
No, the reliever, the Will Smith.
Will Smith's been the closer, yeah.
And he blew the game. The Rangers would have won the Monday game had he been able to get the 9th inning taken care of, but couldn't. And the Astros rallied for the 12-11 wins in that slugfest on Monday. So they still need to get the bullpen sorted out. But you wonder if Chapman emerges as their closer as they develop that. But we will see. But Rangers 51-35, they're fine. I will say this: boo on Major League Baseball. Now, that Astros-Rangers game on Monday wrapped up at like 5:00, and the Rangers played yesterday in Boston at 12:30 Eastern time. I mean, they had to get on a plane, fly to Boston. I don't think they got to Boston until 3 a.m. They played at noon, essentially. Very little sleep, yet they still went out there and won that baseball game. So props to the Rangers, to go in and beat a 500 Red Sox team, but in Boston on the 4th of July, made for TV game.
Yeah, Red Sox starting to wake up a little bit.
They're all right. They're still the Sox.
That's right.
They're still the Sox. But the Rangers, fine. But they, the one thing I'll say for the Astros, I don't know what the Jose Altuve injury is that came down yesterday. It's alarming because Dusty Baker didn't sound good. I don't think Dusty Baker just has heard enough about injuries because they had to announce that they've shut down Michael Brantley again on his road to recovery from the shoulder injury, looking less and less likely that he returns at all this year, much like Lance McCullers and Luis Garcia, and these guys are already out for the year.
Much like Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
he's liable to be with that toe.
The toe. Yeah. I mean, if he's got a torn ligament in the toe,
it's hard to swing.
It'll be a challenge. That's a big body.
And he plays pretty fearless out there in center field, too. He's all over the place, right?
I'll get the Casey Stutter text here in a moment. Effing soft, because Casey will remind us he played an entire season with a broken toe. Get on out there, Aaron Judge. But for the Astros, how many injuries can you absorb? I mean, you can only bring up so many guys and get Corey Julks and Mauricio Dubon and Chaz McCormick, who's come alive with the bat. He had the big hit in the win on Sunday against the Rangers. But, man, at some point, how many can you take? They need to get Yordan Alvarez back, but that's not. I mean, they also have Jose Urquidy, who they're hoping to get back soon into their pitching rotation.
Who's looking like the Cy Young Award winner now? Who from Tampa is right there?
I mean, Nathan Eovaldi's put his name in the conversation in the American League. I mean, he wins every time that he goes to the mound these days. I think he's 9-2 now with the Rangers, 10-2. He's great.
Hey, Dane Dunning, 8-1.
hey, Shohei Ohtani.
Well, he might have, how long does a blister take? What do you miss one start?
Well, the problem with the blister is you feel like you're through it, and then you come back and pitch again, and it fires right back
maybe
up.
2 games.
But they may. I mean, the All-Star break is coming up this weekend, right? The All-Star game's next Tuesday, a week from yesterday. So everybody get a week off. But Major League Baseball wants Shohei Ohtani to be a big attraction in Seattle on next Tuesday.
He was getting rocked last night. Back-to-back homers against him.
And he couldn't grip the ball apparently, and he came out with that blister. And Anthony Rendon got hurt in that game. Mike Trout put on the injured list. So you wonder the Angels, another team like the Astros, can't wait to get to the All-Star break. The LA Dodgers. I mean, Clayton Kershaw's now hurt. I mean, it's going to be a war of attrition here, this 162-game schedule. It always is, but with the World Baseball Classic that they had, kind of a different ramp up to the season. A lot of people, including Gene Watson, who we talked to last Friday, curious to see how this goes because there have been a ton of injuries to key players. And Rangers, that's why I keep saying the Rangers, they've stayed relatively healthy outside of the Jacob deGrom injury. They've been good, and Dane Dunning has stepped in for deGrom and been great. And then there's the Braves, who coming up at the All-Star game next week are going to have 8 participants, 8 from the Atlanta Braves, who are the best team in the National League for sure, maybe the best team in all of baseball. The midway point was 81 games, and I think most of the teams are past that now. Coming out of the weekend, the odds to win the World Series, the odds favorite out of Vegas is Atlanta, and rightfully so, with 8 All-Stars, that pitching staff. And give credit and tip of the cap, hook them to Bryce Elder, the lifetime Longhorn, who is going to the All-Star game for the first time as part of that vaunted Braves pitching staff with Strider and Bryce Elder, Ronald Acuna and that offense. I mean, they're just a really well-built team in Atlanta, and Bryce Elder, a big part of that, the lifetime Longhorn. On the baseball front for the Longhorns, no word about a new pitching coach for the Longhorns at this point, and there's been no official word of Woody Williams not returning. That was a report from Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball last week, but there hasn't been anything official.
Is that for a head coaching job position?
No, Woody's not going to return as a pitching coach. So David Pierce is again looking for a pitching coach for the, second straight offseason to replace Woody Williams, who was one and done at Texas apparently. But again, that hasn't been made official. I also was told over the weekend, keep an eye on Tennessee pitching coach Frank Anderson, possibly to Texas A&M. Now, that also hasn't come down, but did hear word that that's in the pipeline. But that would be a huge get for Jim Schlossnagle and the Aggies to get the, Augie Garrido's former top pitching guy, and, of course, done a great job at Tennessee the last several years. So keep an eye on those baseball moves from the college variety. And remember, baseball's amateur draft is Sunday night. Sunday night is when the 20-round draft begins. So, it
changed a lot for a lot of teams.
We'll see. And the Longhorns will keep an eye on Dylan Campbell and LBJ, LeBaron Johnson Jr., also Lucas Gordon. Those are guys who all could be drafted in the first 10 rounds and would likely be done at Texas if they are. Also in that draft coming up, the Texas Rangers on the fourth pick. So they can add a piece to their already full and fertile farm system that they gave up a little bit of to get Aroldis Chapman over the weekend. So, busy Wednesday trying to catch everybody up on all that's gone on over the 4 or 5 days since we've been in, and there has been a lot of it. We'll also get back into the, we know 4 new teams were officially added to the Big 12 on Saturday, July the 1st. We also have the peculiar story out of the West Coast where San Diego State and the Mountain West Conference are at odds. Apparently a botched attempt. Well, we'll get into it. San Diego State now saying, we weren't leaving. We didn't want to leave the conference. What are we doing? We want back in. So we'll get you details on that. Also, your salacious gossip and blitz for the end of the hour on a busy Wednesday here on 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. Always streaming for you. Make sure you take us wherever you go this vacation season on our Horn app, also on your smart speaker, and always at hornfm.com. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, folks, getting you through and correcting your vision is what they do. I mean, and as I tell you, it's pretty amazing. 9 out of 10 people who go through the simple eye test at Sharp Vision to figure out what's going on with your vision, 9 out of 10 people discover that there is a procedure to correct your vision, get you out of the glasses, get you out of the contacts, get you back to seeing clearly without the assistance of those things that cost money and are hassles and all those things. Get the clear vision. Sharp Vision can get you there better than anybody. As we've said, Dr. Nicholas Lancaster and his team are been voted 3 straight years the best of the best corrective eye LASIK category in the Austin American-Statesman Best of the Best poll for all of Austin. So you're working with great people. I've been through the process myself going on 4 years now and absolutely love not worrying about the helper glasses and all that go with that and deteriorating vision. Now back to 2020 and feeling great about it. And you can too with a simple phone call, 512-596-2020. That's 512-596-2020. How about this right now with Sharp Vision? Guaranteed financing up to 2 years. That's a limited offer, but up to 2 years you can finance with no interest at all. So you get this thing into the budget and get you out of the glasses and contacts and no interest at all for 2 years if you call and set this appointment today and go talk to them at Sharp Vision, 596-2020. That's 512-596-2020 or online at sharp-vision.com. That's Sharp Vision Modern LASIK, the official LASIK provider of Austin FC. 5 July. We flipped the calendar over the weekend to the 7th month of the year, halfway home.
Hope you people are getting your Coke Fest tickets because this is the time when you'll start. Hey, Buck, you got a couple Coke Fest tickets for me? Do you have 6 or 7 for me and my son and my son's girlfriend?
Well, hopefully you didn't miss out on the 4th of July blowout over the weekend with your opportunity for 4 days from July 1st through the 4th for discount tickets. They're trying to fill the house, but obviously give people an opportunity to get on in there.
Let's go.
But yeah, Coke Fest 1 month from now. 1 month from now, 1 week to Big 12 football media days. Can we let you hear this, Buck, on Friday into Saturday at BYU? They had a countdown party because officially on July the 1st, BYU became a member of the Big 12 Conference, leaving their independent status. Here was what it sounded like in Provo.
We go! 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There you go. Welcome to the Big 12. That means they'll be at Big 12 football media days next weekend.
They're
next
a little
week.
giddy. They're giddy.
Be interesting to meet the folks from Provo. BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida are now officially members of the Big 12. We knew that was coming, but it is now official. As we said earlier, the American Conference has now added UT San Antonio, UTSA, UAB, Rice, North Texas, FAU, and Charlotte. And as we say with Conference USA now adding Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston, State of Texas now claims 13 Division I schools, or schools that play at the FBS level of college football, with the Bearcats now to that level, which is pretty darn cool. We also have the curious situation happening at San Diego State. San Diego State. So apparently San Diego State, now it's been widely reported that they indicated that they were planning to leave the Mountain West Conference. They were, and as I think a lot of people assumed, they were about to get an invite from the Pac-12 to join the Pac-12 as they were looking to expand to help their media rights deal by maybe adding the San Diego market. Well, that offer has not come. The Pac-12 has not settled their media rights yet. That's still in limbo because there's a lot of people, yours truly included, who believe that Colorado and Arizona and others are looking elsewhere, including the Big 12, to land. And we know the Big 10 would still like to be interested in a team like Oregon, maybe Washington, to join USC and UCLA in their move. So that's pending. So now the Mountain West is saying, no, you're gone, San Diego State. You owe us a big exit fee. And San Diego State is saying, well, hold on. Wait a second.
Well, we were just talking all that trash, right? We really didn't sign anything, did we?
So right now the Mountain West is withholding $6.6 million as part of San Diego State's $17 million exit fee, which is due by next July 1st. But now San Diego State is claiming that no, we didn't officially notify.
We were just talking about that.
We come on.
Just hearsay?
That's all for rumor. We weren't really leaving. What do you mean $7 million? Now that got us to thinking, and some funny folks on the Twitters remembered this episode of Seinfeld, where George Costanza pulled a San Diego State.
Is it? I'm done. Through. It's over. I'm gone. Finished. Over. I will never work for you again. Look at you. You think you're an important man? Is that what you think? You are a laughingstock. You are a joke. These people are laughing at you. You're nothing. You have no brains, no ability, nothing. I quit. What should I do?
Maybe you can just go back.
Go back?
Yeah. Pretend like it never happened.
You mean just walk into the staff meeting on Monday morning like it never happened?
Sure. You're an emotional person. People don't take you seriously.
Just go back. Pretend the whole thing never happened.
Never happened.
I was blowing off a little steam. So what?
So what? You're entitled.
I'm emotional.
That's right. You're emotional.
Never happened.
Never happened.
How you doing?
What are you doing here?
What? I work here.
I thought you quit.
What, quit? Who quit?
Bill, how was your weekend?
Oh, excellent weekend. What about your weekend?
Fine weekend.
Yeah, good weekend.
Is that Costanza over there? What are you doing here?
What?
Am I crazy? Or didn't you quit?
When?
Friday.
Oh, what? That? Are you kidding? I didn't quit. Why? You took that seriously.
You mean laughing stock, all that stuff?
Come on, will you stop it?
No brains, no ability?
Teasing. What?
Okay. I want you out of here.
I don't know where you're getting this from. You're serious, aren't you? Oh. You see, you don't know my sense of humor. I mean, Dan, don't I joke around all the time?
I wouldn't say all the time.
There we go. George Costanza going San Diego State. Come on.
We're just kidding.
Teasing. Joking.
How much do we owe you?
6.6.
Isn't that the episode where at the end he ends up like drugging that guy, his boss?
I don't remember how it ended.
Yeah.
I do remember that scene. That's one of the many classic scenes from that great show with George Costanza. We can all relate sometimes. Sometimes you have a bad day.
Emotional guy.
Emotional guy.
Emotional. Very emotional.
Very emotional. Hey, you know what else is emotional? Talk about media rights deals and TV. Jerry Jones. We told you Jerry Jones. Netflix has signed the Cowboys owner and the Cowboys up to a $50 million for a 10-part docuseries on the life of Jerry Jones. This is, everyone's looking for the next because the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance docuseries did such gangbusters and everybody loved it. And they've made the Derek Jeter one. They've made several others. And we also have, while you were out last week, we had J.J. Gotcha in from the Austin Gamblers, and they've got their 8-part docu-series, which I've seen all of now. It's really good, behind the scenes of the PBR. Everybody wants behind the scenes, and the little secret now in the NFL, Buck, is no one wants to do Hard Knocks on HBO because everybody wants to do their own. Like, all teams want to make their own and take their fans behind the scenes with, hire their own media crew, do their own, and sell, go to your website if you want to get behind the scenes with the Cowboys. Come pay for it, and fans will pay for it to get the behind-the-curtain look at their favorite team. It's more and more the trend. So teams don't want, part of the reason the New York Jets are frowning at the idea of doing Hard Knocks with HBO Films is no. We got Aaron Rodgers. We're planning to do our own here. We got Jets fans all over New York.
Which makes more sense.
Yeah, we get to profit on it. We get to make money. We need more money in the NFL. But still, you can understand each team is trying to do their own. We don't want to do the Hard Knocks thing. Leave us alone. So that's happening. But meanwhile, Jerry Jones is going to get this docu-series behind the scenes. And much like with Michael Jordan, you want compelling characters. Michael Jordan, wasn't the nicest guy. He was a total ass to his teammates, driven, the whole thing, which just, people wanted to consume. They couldn't get enough of it. I wonder with the Jerry Jones thing, because it's going to take you from, his oil days and how he scraped enough money together to buy the Dallas Cowboys, that whole process, I believe. And then obviously the firing of Tom Landry is a dramatic situation. They'll do a ton of interviews of how that all went down. There's still a lot of Cowboy fans I talk to who,
they're going to talk to former players.
Oh my gosh. And, there's still people, old timers, who will never forgive Jerry Jones for the way he fired Tom Landry. 29 years, the head coach, and out with not a lot of class, not handling it properly. Jerry Jones has even admitted. But then, of course, that led to the hiring of Jimmy Johnson and all the success and the wins and the triplets and 3 Super Bowls. But, obviously the story behind the scenes of the fallout with Jimmy Johnson. It's a huge storyline of how that all played out and why it played out. And the fact that Jerry Jones at 80 years old now is willing to go there and allow the access and, tell his side and let Jimmy tell his side. And that'll be pretty good. That'll be pretty good. Now, the winning of Super Bowls ends in 1995, and there hasn't been another one. So, I don't know what
there's a lot behind the scenes there.
Somebody said I enjoyed the Bill Walton 30 for 30, even though I'm not a fan of Walton. I heard that from a lot of people, that they did a several part, and I recorded it, so I'm going to do that at some point this summer. They did a 30 for 30. I think it's 2-3 episodes. Pretty good?
Yeah, it's really good.
What's it, him just walking around the forest?
Well, Bill Walton.
Taking mushrooms?
Yeah.
Bill Walton, the player, as great as he was, his character that he has is unbelievable.
Yeah. He's become almost a caricature as a broadcaster, just doing silly and saying silly things and over the top. But he's, a character if there ever was one in the sport of basketball. And so those are the folks people dive into, because Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones sound bites and clips are legendary on this show and all shows, because he just he's a soundbite waiting to happen every time he opens his mouth. And so those are the kind of people you want to do docu-series on.
Oh,
And so
for
Netflix
sure.
paying $50 million. And what I don't know is how much of that goes to Jerry. I got to think a lot, right? Or to the Cowboys. And he's got to give access that they need, the interviews.
Oh, they're going to ask for certain things.
Oh,
from
yeah. Well, I mean, the behind the scenes with the Michael Jordan stuff. And remember, Michael Jordan had ownership of all that video.
Right.
Because remember, there was a camera crew that followed them that final season, The Last Dance, and that's where all that footage came from, and all those interviews and all the conversation. There was happening,
and he had to say yes to it.
Yeah, he had it was his, and he never would. And finally, he did. Finally, he said, "Okay, we can make this," but I still get full, discretion on what's in and what's not. Which that's what has led to the falling out with Scottie Pippen. And some other players who thought it was very Michael friendly and not very friendly to everybody else, which would a mockumentary they would call it. And Scottie Pippen is just a bitter dude. At the end of the day,
that he is,
and his ex-wife is dating Michael's son.
Michael did say, I saw a story that he was in Italy and the paparazzi asked him if he approved of them being together, and he said, "No, I don't." So at least there's that.
Like most fathers would probably say.
I don't know. I mean. It's not like Michael and Scotty are friends at this point.
They hate each other.
Yeah. If anything, you'd probably yeah, go on, son, get it.
Well, and a big
get it.
I don't know where they were as friends before the docuseries came out, but that really split them because Scotty felt like it was an unfair portrayal, and it really played up.
Well, Scotty also said recently that if it wasn't for him, Michael wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, wouldn't have won championships. Well, I mean, the timeline would tell you that he didn't win any. He was in this league 8 years before Scotty joined, and
but he was like, he would have been nobody.
Oh, I know. Like, well, he's a bitter guy. He's a very bitter person. And I think you would be too if your ex-wife was dating your rival's son.
Wow.
That ain't cool.
And she has an OnlyFans.
She has an OnlyFans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I learned that over the weekend as well.
How much do those accounts cost per one? Do we know?
It's a monthly subscription.
And they vary in price?
Vary, yeah. Not that I've ever
gone there.
Yeah, you guys will pay for my naked gardening at one price and one price only.
I think there will be a clamoring for that.
Absolutely.
The naked gardening.
And there will be there will be no deals.
What do you think, $9.99? $9.99 a month enough?
At least 20.
20?
No, $11.50.
Now, by the way,
$11.
Do these people who do the OnlyFans, do they give a guarantee that for your $20 you're going to get X amount of content per week or month or day?
Mm-hmm.
No, you just trust that's it. If they're going to do that, you're going to get.
Screw that. Come on, man.
You can get scammed on there.
Sounds like it.
There you can.
Yeah. There's a lot of people doing fairly well on the OF, as
I'm going
to
give you everything that you deserve, believe me, on mine. One nut drop a month. That's all you get, at least one.
It says that relationship with MJ's kid and Scotty's ex is weird AF. Kid could literally have most any women in the world.
I know.
That is too weird, man. That is like you hear it and you're like, no way. You're making
it's not
that
for real.
up.
That's just made up stuff.
Like I mean, MJ can't be thrilled with that. She's like twice his age, right? I mean, she's like 50.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't.
He's like 35.
I'm still not believing it.
Well, there's also the.
I'm believing it's maybe a one time. And
we know
every
there's
other
also
month
the
thing.
Jimmy Jimmy Buckets, is actually Michael Jordan's
Son.
long lost son. Yes.
Yeah.
That whole story, and you can do the research and timeline on that, and let your mind wander with Jimmy Butler and Michael Jordan too. Okay, we'll come back. Load up the Blitz. It's been a while. Let's crank it back up. And Buck is back. Welcome him back. He had a birthday over the week off and the weekend, so bring it strong at 447-3776. Also a little salacious gossip. If that wasn't salacious enough, that's coming your way as well. Let's roll forward on a Wednesday. No games, just the gossip ahead of your blitz. That's time to load it up. 447-3776. Of course, gossip brought to you by the Icy Cold Bud Lights. Hope you had some over the weekend. Safely and smart. Always have a good plan with the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas X's, and the Texas OU game. And, of course, good times in the ATX. Hope you got to see some fireworks last night. Or, as you said, Buck, blast off some fireworks if you're a local amateur firework blaster. Because they were going off last night. Dogs going crazy everywhere, obviously. So hope everybody's back at it and safe and ready to roll. But the Icy Cold Bud Lights were there for you on these hot weekends. Whether you're in the water somewhere, floating in a river, the coast, whatever you're doing, be safe with it. But do it with the Ice Cold Bud Lights. All right, Ty told us about this big party. You probably weren't invited. I wasn't invited. The Buck wasn't invited.
No.
But the Hamptons were the place to be this weekend for Michael Rubin's annual 4th of July white party. And black people could come too, Buck, but you just had to wear white.
Yes.
It wasn't white people
it's
only.
It's uniform.
Everyone wears white for the summer.
Yes.
And we just talked about everybody, all these NFL teams want to do their own behind-the-scenes docuseries. Well, I was looking at this. This guy, Michael Rubin, billionaire guy. You know where he made his money, Ty? What does he do?
I was not aware.
Well, he made his own video. Like, he had a camera crew, and they put out a behind-the-scenes literal movie recap of the people that were there, and it was star-studded for sure. From the sports world, Tom Brady was there. Single Tom.
In white.
Joel Embiid.
Wow.
Russell Westbrook. James Corden. He's not a sports guy, but funny guy. Kim Kardashian was there. She's dated a lot of sports guys. Quavo. Ben Affleck was there with Jennifer Lopez. Joe Burrow. Yeah, how about Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback? He's becoming kind of a dude, you know?
Yes, sir.
He's got a bad haircut, too. I'm as someone with a bad haircut. I can say this, but not a great haircut for him. But, yeah, Joe Burrow, he's got a look these days. Get these little glasses, kind of like John Lennon glasses. Burrow. You know.
I like the little glasses.
Do you?
I'm a little gal. Yeah, I like little
90s
glasses.
style, kind of.
Well, also at the party, Leonardo DiCaprio with his apparent new girlfriend, the model Gigi Hadid. Gigi. And by...
Was she 12?
She's 28. This is a breaking news story. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio is actually dating someone older than 25.
It's just a weekend fling.
No.
They spent 2 nights together.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Vibe.
It's a real thing.
Vibe. And they've been in the same friend group, apparently. And now they've taken it to the... And there's a vibe there. So just so you know.
Oh, there's a next level for this with him?
Yeah, he typically dates 21-year-olds, and then when they're 25, he moves on to a 21-year-old. That's just kind of the Leo way, which, you know, it's like Derek Jeter. How long can you do that? Eventually, George Clooney had to settle down. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Sometimes you just settle down. You just do. Ty, you've ever been to a white party?
There was this party in college that I went to. It was called the Blacklight Party.
Ooh.
Where it was one of the Jewish fraternities and one of the black fraternities that had a party together. And it was one of the most fun parties I've ever been to. But it was not like this. And it was not uniform.
You ever been to one of those, I don't know what
Toga?
this is called. Oh, you ever go to Toga party?
Toga,
We had a
yes.
Toga party in college.
Toga.
Toga party, Ty?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go.
I can't remember.
I think so.
I think so.
What about when they fill like the dance floor with soap? Have you been to one of those?
That was the Blacklight Party, kind of.
Yeah, it's like soap suds. I don't know how they create them.
There was a lot of, what are they called? Like glow sticks being broken, people being painting each other and such.
That's very
different.
Eyes wide shut kind of stuff going on there. Hey now. Okay, also we told you this. The president of the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council says over the weekend, no one over 18 should ever be putting ketchup on a hot dog. Ever. Yeah. Never. And that's the guy who runs sausage. You know what I'm saying? He's in charge of sausage and hot dogs.
Yep.
President. He says that. Speaking of the president, you know they found cocaine in the White House. Did you hear about this?
More?
Cocaine in the White House.
Come on, Hunter.
What's going on with that? They do a sweep of the White House, and they find this white powdery substance.
Told you they were going to catch you, Jill.
What's going on up there? White House? White parties, White House, cocaine.
Wow.
The heck? Is this an HBO series or something? What are we doing? All right, let's go to your blitz.
I told that Joe that cleaning crew wasn't right. Yeah, that's right.
Now you're blaming the cleaning
those
crew.
people. You know how that goes. All right, first blitzer, you're up.
Got to throw somebody under the bus.
So let me get this straight. ESPN gets rid of David Pollock, but they keep the disrespectful troll just like quarterback for Ohio State. Yeah, that makes sense.
David Pollock out.
I'm surprised Desmond Howard made the cut on that, by the way.
Did he?
Yes.
That whole
Not a
crew's
big
back,
fan.
right? That whole crew's back.
Well, Lee Corso.
Yeah, that crew's back.
Probably
Next
Pat
blitzer.
McAfee's still joining them. He's now part of the team.
That's true. Next blitzer, you're up.
Morning, gentlemen.
What's
I'm
up?
calling to let you know that I'm on a road trip going through Alabama, and all I have to tell y'all is roll turd.
Next blitzer, you're up.
Yeah, this is Bev Kearney. Yeah, hey, DiCaprio's not the only one that likes to keep them young.
Oh, gee. Next blitzer, you're up.
Bucky,
What's up, man?
Hey, Kev.
you showed Joe Chestnut ain't from that movie Invasions or he an alien?
Wow, the way that dude eats, that's incredible. Next blitzer, you're up.
Coach,
Yes.
welcome back from your 15 days of vacation with
Gee.
BK. Hey, so since you were on vacation with BK, the other vacation master, we need to hear them stories now. Give it up.
No, I was not with BK. Next blitzer, you're up.
Hey, Texas Rangers, who your daddy, bitches? Yeah.
Uh-oh, Astro fans.
Oh, they're back.
Just 3 games. A lot of baseball left
First
here.
place.
Next blitzer, you're up.
You guys should be like ESPN when they made their cuts and go ahead and cut out the Klan.
Cut out the
The Klan.
Wow.
Good stuff right there. Several people said that appreciate all the input. This says those are called foam parties. Okay, thank you very much. This says I've been to an ABC party, anything but clothes. Okay, like that. By the way, the guy who had the big party over the weekend, owner and CEO of Fanatics.
Fanatics, yeah. I knew that. But he's big in the sports card world.
Yes, sports cards, collectibles, digital collectibles.
Got
Oh,
a
yeah.
nice pad, man.
Speaking of Joey Chestnut, this guy's like a pioneer in the world of competitive eating. And essentially he's now like the Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus of competitive eating. He's won 16 of the last 17 hot dog eating contests. We'll run down some of his other eating accomplishments because they are impressive. They're nauseating, but they are impressive. Also want to thank those who were in last week when Buck took his time off. We had Ty Harrington, our friend J.J. Gotch, and Nick Shuley. And Nick Shuley will be with us on Wednesday because it is already Wednesday. He's got the live music update coming up for your upcoming week and weekend. Also talk some Longhorn conversation as well. Always good to have Nick in the house. He'll be with us in our next hour. So plenty to do. Go nowhere. Lock it in. 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260. Stream it always on your Horn app, on your smart speaker, and at hornfm.com. 5 July, it is Wednesday already. Hope you had a great weekend, and like we got to enjoy, 4-day weekend. Buck is back, which is always great, and we are counting down the days now to Big 12 Football Media Days 1 week from today. Our crew, the Horn, will be descending on Arlington for 2 days of Big 12 football conversation. 14 teams this time around with the 4 new additions. Longhorns will be headed up there with Steve Sarkisian, and the program has announced that 2 receivers, Jordan Whittington and Xavier Worthy, will be going as part of the Longhorns contingent. For the first time in a few years, a quarterback will be there in Quinn Ewers. Also, from the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Ford, the All-Big 12 linebacker, and Jade Barron, the defensive back. So those are your 5, and kind of see where the leadership kind of builds there. We also have talked about the picture of Quinn Ewers and the quarterbacks in the weight room over the weekend. That, I think, was put out by Malik Murphy, and a lot of picture worth 1,000 words. A lot of thoughts. Arch Manning's in good shape. Looks like Quinn Ewers has indeed rebuilt his frame and his body, and has grown into it. And then Malik Murphy looks like a defensive end.
He does. He looks like he can play anywhere he wants to play.
I mean, what is that? I mean, good night. You got to, as we say, you got to think there's NFL GMs looking at that going, okay, now that's a quarterback room. Strength and conditioning doing pretty good at Texas, but Malik Murphy does not look like a quarterback. What do you think? He's he's listed as 6'6". You've been around big bodies.
6'5". He's about 230 something.
Well, remember, Arch Manning is listed and been verified by many people we've talked to that he's 6'4", and Malik Murphy is taller than Arch Manning by quite a bit in this picture.
Almost 6'6", about.
I mean, I would guess if you measured Arch Manning, he's 6'3" and change. But that dude, Malik Murphy's every bit of 6'6", and he is ripped. It looks like he could play defense, tight end. Where do you need him? But he's a quarterback.
Can he run?
Well, yeah.
Randall Cunningham.
That was the thing that jumped out in his performance in the spring game was just how
his
footwork, his delivery is on point. I mean, remember, Malik came in injured from California as an early enrollee, but had broken his foot or whatever in his state championship game in December out in California. So he showed up and was hurt, so didn't participate in the spring the first year. And then Steve Sarkisian said there was a setback to the injury that summer, and then they went to about reworking his delivery, right? They wanted to rebuild. They thought it was too long of a delivery, so they really wanted to work with that first. Let's break some bad habits and start from the ground up. And it really showed out in the spring game. And so now, I still think it's amazing that I know that there were some NIL opportunities involved, but the Malik Murphy is still here to back up Quinn Ewers and to be competing with Arch Manning, because there were a lot of college coaches who saw that performance in the spring game and had to be thinking,
oh, for sure,
he's better than our guy. He's better than my guy. That's a pretty good player right there. It's a good-looking quarterback. I know it's only a spring game, but, man, a lot of the uncoachables he's got. And he is still here. So that's a deep and formidable quarterback room now for the Longhorns as we count down the days, inside 60 days to the start of the Longhorn football season. We've also talked about Joey Chestnut, because I literally cannot watch the competitive eating stuff. I can't. Can you?
I mean, I have no interest when it comes. I mean, no, I can't watch it.
It's obviously usually the only thing on the 4th of July. I didn't watch much of anything yesterday. Was just doing the neighborhood thing, neighborhood parade and swimming pool and that kind of stuff. But so I didn't see it. I did watch it on Monday thinking it was the actual contest, because I was watching the Astros game because we spent a couple days down in New Braunfels. And it was
last year's event.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. And so it was last year's, but it was on opposite the Astros-Rangers game Monday afternoon, and every time I would glance over there, I felt like I was going to throw up. It was just so disgusting. But again, it was Joey Chestnut defending his crown. He is the king of eating. And Ty, you admire these guys who can just go like that.
I mean, it's interesting. I've tried it myself, and I think I cap out at like 9, 10 hot dogs. But the bun's the hardest part. And I'm not I hate sogginess, so I can't do the
That's why they dip them in the water, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the bun becomes a challenge. Well, I mean, this guy Joey Chestnut he's not just a hot dog eater. He owns the record for. He's won 16 of the last 17. He owns the record for Big Macs eaten he ate like 32 Big Macs in 38 minutes once. What was the one? Glazed donuts that we talked about? That would be.
Didn't Chad try that one time? Like 5 donuts in 3 minutes or something? I think he failed.
I believe it was our good friend, remember Mike Rosenthal, the former NFL player, one-time coach at Austin High, head football coach. He told me once when he was playing for the Vikings, his team dared him to eat one of those big blocks of Cinnabon, like the entire block of it, and he did at an airport. They were waiting for a plane or something.
What, like a whole tray of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that plane ride I'm sure wasn't very fun.
Yeah. That's a lot of sugar right there. I just don't know how you do that, but yeah, competitive eating. I'm glad you've tried it, Ty. The one thing I ever did was with you. I paid off a bet.
Yes.
That I could eat 50 hot dogs in an hour, and I did that.
You ate 50?
Yeah.
In an hour?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive.
At the Shoal Creek Saloon. We had
At the
witnesses
creek,
there.
yeah.
We did the show. We were a zany, loony afternoon show.
Looking for bits.
Back when Bucky was still drinking.
Was that your idea?
No, but that was sad. That was sick.
I was telling E on Friday. I was like, great. I'm happy you don't drink now, but I would kind of wish you did a little bit, just so I could see that.
Oh, you don't know. You don't want to see that.
Well, you were good at it.
I was good at it because you couldn't tell.
Or I couldn't tell. Really?
I could do shows. I could do all kinds of stuff.
He was very functioning.
Very functioning alcoholic, yes.
And it was impressive. Yeah, you did shows, show prep from the Rose and Shoal Creek Saloon. It was back in the day, man. But yes, I did do the 50 hot dog bit and then drove to Houston. This was my younger days, Ty. No. Mm-mm. I didn't think it was about
maybe I'll have to try that challenge.
I had a full hour, so I paced myself. And no buns. It was just 50 dogs, 50 wieners.
Just wieners.
He ate 50 wieners.
50 wieners. He ate 50 wieners.
Dome.
Wow.
And remember back then, who was the guy? Hog Wild Wayne came out and played the trumpet for us while I was
we
doing
had them
that.
all there. It was the whole
all
dirty
the dirty
30.
Our first 30, and probably
my
still only
goodness.
30 listeners were out. It was great. They all showed up to watch me eat hot
Oh,
dogs.
man, that was crazy.
I accomplished the mission, though. Still proud of that. But that, again, I could not come close to that today. There's no way.
See, I just
No
don't think I could
possible way.
eat the hot dog without the bun like that.
Oh, man, I don't mind that. But they had to be good dog. Was one of my requirements. They couldn't be these
Yeah, because that's
nasty-
tough because you need, that holding that bun's okay, but you'd have to touch the wiener. That's the thing. You have to hold the wiener in your hand.
bite it.
Oh, to bite that wiener. Wow.
I was at the neighborhood pool yesterday in Onion Creek for 4th of July. They're making burgers and had a DJ and had, water slide for the kids, all kinds of stuff.
It fries too.
But one of the ladies, one of the moms brought these pina coladas frozen in the little sacks, like a popsicle thing.
Oh, yeah. Squeeze them out.
I want to tell you what it looked like.
Oh, no.
It was something, either breast milk or something else.
Oh.
And all these people are like sucking on them. Like, that's gross, man. That is gross. Just put
Way
that
to
in a
go,
cup.
Mom.
Put that
Way
in a
to go,
cup.
Mom. Good job.
All these ladies sucking on these pina colada things. You're like, that. That's gross, y'all. That is disgusting what that looks like. Just saying. It says, legend has it none of those 50 wieners touched E's teeth. Well,
just went right
down the gullet.
No, I didn't swallow them.
Boom,
No, I
boom,
ate them.
boom, boom.
I'm not big on swallowing things. I chewed them. I chew my food. You know what I'm saying? I do eat very fast though. That was part of the debate because it's always been a thing for me. I eat fast. I drink I drink all these cups of water in the morning. I do most. I drink fast and eat fast. So
Yeah, I've had to
I
slow
can do
that
it.
down now lately.
No, I can't though. I usually can't finish a full entree at a restaurant. I mean, I just can't. I usually split stuff. My wife, she gets something, I get something, or we get an appetizer and then split an entree. Because they give you so much food.
I know. My wife is.
You ever been to Ranch 616?
Yes.
Their chicken fried steak there. Went there this weekend.
My wife doesn't mess around. She can pack it. I mean, she doesn't play around. There is no reaching your
She eats all
fork.
of it.
You don't reach your fork over for any of that stuff. It's like
She's
gone.
a clean plater?
She's a clean plater. I'm not. I always like to leave a little something for the people behind the scenes if they want it.
Well, see, at
when
my
they
house,
come and get it. I don't know what that was.
At my house, I was grounded if I didn't finish everything on my plate. Like, I would get grounded.
Seriously, like everything had to go.
Like, you cannot stand up till you were done with everything.
Well, that was a
on your
rule
plate.
at our house too, because Mom would cook dinner and then Dad would say you can't go back because this was usually in the summer. We want to go back out and play, and so you got to finish your plate.
That wasn't the issue. I think it was a weight gain.
Oh yeah,
tactic.
your dad was trying to pack
Yeah,
pounds.
he
on
was
trying to
trying
get me in the league.
Pack it
I
on
was just
you.
finish your plate, clean your plate, and then you can go back outside. So we would just scarf it down and run back outside. It's the way that would
And
work.
quickly. Well, I had to get to mine because I was the oldest of 8, so I got to go first anyway.
I was not allowed to get my food till everyone else in the house. And when I was growing up, there was literally like 14 people living in my house. It was.
Oh, there's a lineup?
Oh yeah.
Like being in prison?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Wow. Really?
And I get a fat
And you were
slap in
last.
the back if I was up at the front.
I was
Yeah.
well, just on Monday we were down in New Braunfels, I mentioned, and we had dinner at the Grist Mill right there in Green.
Oh,
the
yeah.
great restaurant right next to Green Hall. and, ordered an appetizer of this, like, German sausage. And I obviously at the grist mill, it's usually big tables of people that have been floating the river. They brought, I was like, there was enough sausage for 20 people. I was like, what am I going to do with all this sausage? As an appetizer. I'm like, well, that's all I'm eating. I'm going to eat some sausage.
Don't need nothing else.
No, there's no way. And I couldn't eat all that. It's unbelievable. The amount of food they put on a plate.
I'm not a big eater. I can't eat a lot. I have a baby belly, so
you do.
That thing fills up. I get filled. I mean, really quick. I'm done. I'm done, and I can't put not one other thing in there.
No,
unless it's Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen. I'm trying to find this where I read this tweet of all the world records Joey Chestnut holds, but it's incredible. He is the Michael Jordan of the game. He really
that dude
is.
eats Taco Bell, not crispy tacos, all right?
Here it is. Joey Chestnut holds 55 world records for eating, including funnel cake, Twinkies, deep-fried asparagus, Taco Bell tacos, gumbo, and Big Macs.
Gumbo?
Yeah.
I bet there's some big people that are stuck in their house that could beat them.
Those 600-pound life people?
Yeah. That's a challenge I'd like to see.
That's what, whenever my wife watches those shows, and then I feel terrible for them.
I feel bad.
It's like I honestly think the writers for all those kinds of shows, it's like a comedy. Like they try to.
Well, here's my question. My wife watches this show, and there's people that can't even get out of their own bed. Like they can't.
That stuff makes me want to cry.
I know.
Yeah, but then
someone's bringing them food.
It's all their fault. Like it's 100% of the time.
Well, would somebody stop?
It's the person's fault.
If they can't get out of the bed, then
Somebody's
stop bringing them food.
Yeah.
Someone's bringing them food. I mean, someone has to be doing that.
Somebody's the enabler in there.
Yeah. Somebody has. I mean, if you can't even get out of your own bed, someone's bringing you the calories. Well, cut the calories. I know that's a very simplistic way to look at it. I know it's more psychological than anything.
Those are shows I can't watch those things.
Oh man, it's gross. Here it is. Thank you, CB on Twitter, Chris Bennett. Chad one time could he down 10 donuts in under 5 minutes. The Shipley Donuts on Brody provided the donuts. I do not think he completed it.
I could do that.
Make my ears ring. The sugar.
By the way, on the Malik Murphy picture, Colt McCoy says Malik is bigger than Vince. Bigger than Vince Young back in the day. And he is. Vince was never that muscular. He was tall.
He had the baby fat to him.
I mean, you go find that picture of the Texas 5 quarterback room, and that dude looks like a defensive end. I mean, he is ripped on top of being 6'6" and menacing looking dude.
Bigger than Jalen Hurts now.
Well, Jalen Hurts is what, 6'3"? I mean, he was a power lifter in high school, if you remember, down in Channelview. He was a state champion power lifter. That's one of the things about Jalen Hurts. He's so strong in his lower body. He runs through tackles, and that's what he was. And then he's developed his passing game, which has made him this incredible dual threat that was on his way to winning the MVP before his injury last December. But yeah, I mean, look, Malik Murphy's got a future playing football. There's no doubt about that. And if he doesn't make it at quarterback, which I think he will, he can play other positions on the football field. That's pretty obvious. That's a big dude. Okay, so those are the stories we've been kicking around this morning. In addition to the Major League Baseball. Injuries, really the biggest story of baseball right now, with the L.A. Angels losing 3 key guys yesterday. Mike Trout, when you say key guys, I mean 3 of the best players in the game. Mm-hmm. Certainly Shohei Ohtani with a blister, but the bigger injury is Mike Trout. He's out with the All-Star break's next Tuesday. So these are guys you want to see perform in the All-Star game, but if they're hurt, they're not going to. Yordan Alvarez of the Astros likely not to. He's still dealing with that oblique problem. He's barely even swinging a bat.
That's a definite. He won't be playing in it.
Well, I mean, Yordan was having an MVP caliber season until he got hurt, and you were thinking he was going to be in the home run derby, which Yordan would be a blast to see in the home run derby, no pun intended. But he won't even. There's no chance. And if any team needs the All-Star week off, it's the Astros. They got so many injuries up and down their lineup. Dusty Baker is just trying to get there, and they don't have a day off until. But the Astros won 3 out of 4 from the Rangers. But the other injuries, the Astros I'm keeping an eye on the news wire today of Jose Altuve, because he was in the lineup yesterday, then apparently hurt himself during batting practice and had to be scratched. The Astros still beat the Rockies 4-1, but that is one to watch because, of course, Altuve's already missed a couple of months with that hand injury when he was hit by the pitch in the World Baseball Classic. He was just getting his groove back, it felt like. Hit that big. How about Jose Altuve to start that big Rangers series on Friday night, 4-game wraparound series, playoff atmosphere, and the first pitch of the series, Jose Altuve hit a home run. To kind of set the tone. They went on to win that game, and that's what you're going to have to beat with the Astros.
He had a good weekend.
He did. Jose Abreu had a great week. Kyle Tucker had the huge weekend, hit the big grand slam on Monday. But Jose Abreu, because he's been His bat's been dormant most of the year. If he gets going,
wallet is thick,
and keep Altuve healthy, and finally get Yordan Alvarez back, you start putting that lineup together. There's a chance. And but the Astros not just injured in the batting lineup; they're injured on the pitcher's mound right now. And here's the problem, right? I mean, Framber Valdez is an all-star, and he's having a Cy Young caliber year, one of 2 Houston all-stars, he and Yordan. But Lance McCullers isn't coming back. That's now official. Luis Garcia, who's been a stalwart, he's out for the rest of the season. They're hoping to get Jose Urquidy back, but he's been dealing with a shoulder problem that shut down. And if you watched the only game, in the Monday game, the Astros won 12-11. The Bats won it because Christian Javier had his 3rd straight terrible start for the Astros, and there's fear that something's wrong with him. And so if you're a Ranger fan, you just keep watching the Astros fall apart, and you're going to be fine in the AOS. And you're happy to see the Angels losing their key guys too, because in addition to Trout and Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, their third baseman, fouled a ball off of his shin, and the X-rays were negative, and they're not sure how long he's going to be out. So Rangers have stayed.
And Brantley's done again.
They shut him down from any recovery. I mean, he's been keep trying to work his way back, and he gets close, or they say he's close, and then set back, and he's shut back down. So don't expect to see Michael Brantley anytime soon for the Astros. But that's a bummer. But that's that kind of season for the Astros right now. And if you're the Rangers, outside of the Jacob deGrom injury, and you weathered a Corey Seager month out or 3 weeks out, you've been healthy, and that's a big key. Healthiest teams typically rise to the top because it's a long season. All right, we'll come back. When we do, it'll be our live music update with our buddy Nick Shuley. Get his thoughts on some UT stuff, that Texas picture of quarterbacks. He's always got some good nuggets for you as well. Also, where the best live music shows are going to be. We'll find out if Nick was at Willie's Picnic yesterday out at Q2 Stadium with Willie Nelson and all that great lineup. We'll get an update from him coming next here on B&E. What a weekend. Hope you had a great one. That means, gosh, we're already to Wednesday, which almost 9:30. That means Nick Shuley in the house. Nick was a guest host with us last week, and good to have him in this morning to talk some live music. Did you make it to Willie's Picnic? Got at the Q2 yesterday or last night?
I did not. The weekend caught up to me, and I kind of lamed out and then hung out with the family and went to bed early.
Smart. Smart. Did you participate in any competitive eating opportunities?
I did not. I felt like I did yesterday though, with how much I ate, but I didn't do it quickly. Well, I guess I did it quickly. But.
Any competitive fireworks events at your place?
There were quite a bunch of fireworks outside, but I can't say I saw much of it.
There you go.
One of the worst injuries I saw as a child was of my childhood was my brother's buddy. They were having Roman candle wars up at the park, running and shooting each other with Roman candles, and he misjudged and hit the crossbar on those, like the 3-bar things.
Oh, he hit it?
Right in the forehead.
Oh.
And it was dark out. So all you heard was,
bong. He's out.
He's on the ground. He had this huge thing across his forehead. Lucky he didn't die. I mean, lucky he didn't kill himself. But yes, fun with fireworks and, shoot them at each other. That's always fun. Bottle rocket wars and Roman candle wars.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Well, hopefully everybody's back and has all their fingers and toes and all of those things. But how was your weekend outside of too much eating yesterday? Good?
Yeah, it was good. It was nice and relaxing. So
it was hot. I mean, obviously you just know it's going to be searing temperatures, so you find a way to get out, get to some water, get to a pool, float in a river
cooled
somewhere.
Off a little. We had a little cool off.
It did. Yeah, we were down in Braunfels, as I mentioned, and there was one day it was like cloudy and 91.
Yeah,
I mean,
cold front coming through. 95.
Well, still muggy as heck, but that's better than 105 like we were dealing with. But yeah, a lot there. Hopefully you got to get out and see some live music over the weekend. There was good stuff, and yes, I mean the Austin Symphony Orchestra was playing for the event last night, the fireworks, and of course Willie's Picnic was going on, and they had a big fireworks show apparently afterwards to honor America with our Independence Day. But we're already to Wednesday. That means live music for the upcoming week. Before we do, I need your did you see the picture of the Longhorn quarterback?
Oh, I did. It'd be hard to miss that one.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, as we say, a picture worth 1,000 words. You kind of gaze at it like, you're like, man, these guys, okay, who are these guys? First of all, you got to identify. And then you make your, Quinn's in good shape, right? Quinn's looking good. Arch doesn't miss.
Kid looks like a bodybuilder.
He's built for the lake and hanging out with Ty on the boats. He's doing that, and then Malik's a big dude.
Yeah, Malik is apparently a big foodie. He not like big eater, but just really really likes to go try different foods and
different
things like
foods.
that.
Yeah,
apparently a really neat kid.
Get him a restaurant deal for the NIL. You know what I'm saying?
Might be working on something.
Bijan had the mustard. Also on July 1st, we know the new state law went into effect with the NILs and the collectives and things. We'll see how that shakes out. We know the NCAA warned all schools you still have to follow our rules no matter what your state says. So far, nothing big on that front. Longhorns have added some commitments to the front. Also, should tell you coming up, our buddy Jeff Howe is going to jump in the house from Light the Tower. Apparently, there's some developing basketball news that Jeff is going to fill us in on before we get to the top of the hour.
I think I heard a little whisper about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't spoil it though. Jeff knows way more than I do.
Jeff is the man. Well, you're tied in. You're one of those guys. And by the way, we were talking about this, Buck, because you said this is about the time when people start calling you for Coke Fest tickets. That you
Yes.
give me 6 tickets. Nick, you're a ticket guy. You can get people tickets, but there's the remind our audience what the unwritten rule is of ticket giving.
There is an unwritten rule that, if you're friends with someone, you can ask them for tickets. But the rule is you never ask for more than you plus one. It's just the rule because it's just, maybe for a family member it's legal to ask for more, but it's one thing to get 2 tickets to something. It's another thing to try to get, 6, 8, that kind of thing.
Yeah, let's
I just need them for this is my wife and I and my
10 kids.
10 kids.
Yeah. Oh, how many? Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, let me.
I didn't know you had that many kids.
Because if you're gonna have to ask your source, hey, can I get some tickets? And you're gonna 6, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You get that. That's the hard part.
That
when
is
you actually
the hard
make the
part.
ask to someone. You have to go kind of tail between your legs, like I got a bad one for you.
Or you get to say no.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, I can't help you with that.
That happens.
Exactly. But yeah, you always help out where you can. Okay, so we've got music starting tonight. Again, a lot of people still taking the week off and enjoying some downtime and get out and see some live music. Where are they going tonight, tomorrow night, into the weekend?
I want to send them to the Far Out Lounge tonight. It's basically it's deep on South Congress, almost Slaughter in South Congress, and it's a cool little spot. They get some great acts, and every Wednesday they have this local guy Curtis Roush does like Curtis Roush and Friends, and tonight he's doing it with Moody Banks, and it's he's kind of spacey Americana, just a good thing to listen to, but a cool spot to go to.
It is a cool place. That's not far from where I live. It's that whole area is developed like crazy. There's an HEB that went in, and then there's a new Torchy's Tacos right across the street, and good stuff there.
There's a lot of good little music spots popping up there too. A lot of the kind of musicians moved out further south.
Right. Well, a lot of them live in Buda and down that way, and so it's easier for them to play. It's something you and I have been talking about, how to keep live music going in Austin, Texas, and some of it's got to move further south, where they can afford the rent and book great acts, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I was talking to our buddy Eric Rains down the hall, Buck at Coke FM, that acts like the city of Austin, they'll be trying to load in to play a show downtown, and they'll get a ticket.
Yep.
Well, they're trying to unload their gear. Like, they don't even give them that opportunity. Hey, you're a musician.
Put their stuff at the bars and places like that.
The load in, load out becomes a problem when you're trying to set up a show. And it's like, well, no, I'm not going down there and get a ticket. I'm going to make some bucks. But, I mean, that's something the city's got to work on.
Yeah, we have been working on it through we have a great group called Austin, Texas Musicians that do a lot of work at the city level to try to do things like parking, finding proximity parking, and some of the local parking companies have actually been really, really friendly about it and helped us out, and have been good about it, because that's something people forget is you got to load in, but then you also have to park this huge vehicles, trailer or a van and things like that. And you guys know how parking is; it's tough. But yeah, I actually met with the mayor Monday about exactly well, it was about a lot of things, but we had to talk about that, about how a lot of this messaging is that all the musicians are leaving, but I think it's more of a conversation of the city's just getting bigger and wider, and people are moving to the outskirts. Obviously, it's still,
and all those spaces mean money.
Yep, yeah, and it still feels a lot of these places like where we live further south, it still feels like Austin, but you're enough away.
Sure, and I know that for me, the Far Out Lounge would be a close little spot. And I'm glad they are having a cool show tonight. Curtis Roush and Friends with Moody Banks, which is a good show on a Wednesday night. But also, it does feel like Kirk Watson, the mayor, is making it. Everybody knows Nashville has taken over Austin as a place to see live local music by a mile. But it does feel like he's trying to do some things to bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, he really is, and I think we get lost. Nashville has a quantity of music everywhere. It's a lot of cover bands. It's a lot of kind of 6th Street-y stuff for that. But we still have these great up and coming acts and that farm system, and that's kind of what Watson's an old school Austinite. He's great.
Well, yeah, when
he
was mayor before, things were thriving.
Exactly.
When 6th Street was 6th Street.
Oh, he talks about. He still goes to shows. He's great, but he really cares about music. So it's nice to sit and talk, and they want to figure out how to help.
All right, back to the live music update. Wednesday night, we mentioned Far Out Lounge is your spot. Tomorrow night would be the Empire Control Room.
Yeah, Thursday we got Arrows in Action with Honey Revenge, and Honey Revenge is this kind of female pop punk band that's really good, and they're playing at Empire Control Room over there on a little right before I-35.
Big shows this weekend, including Friday night with a full rundown.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday get a little busy. Friday we got Blink-182, Ty, for you. So that's I was a big Blink fan, but I would honestly go just to go see Turnstile, the opening band. They're one of my favorite bands out there.
Okay, and that's Moody Center Friday night with a full rundown there. One of 3 ACL TV tapings this weekend.
Yeah, Rodrigo y Gabriela, which is kind of a Latin flamenco influenced dueling guitar set. They played the festival a bunch of times, and it's just eerily quiet with these 2 guitars going, and they're phenomenal. Really cool. That'll be a cool taping.
All right, so that's Friday night, and a legend over at Seaboy's Heart and Soul on South Congress.
Yeah, Mike Flanagan Trio plays there.
It's actually one of my friend's dads, Mike Flanagan.
Is he really?
Oh.
He's
that's
a
better name drop than me.
There you go.
He has an album in the Deep Eddy Cabaret jukebox, so it always
there you go.
Ty spends a lot of time at Deep Eddy Cabaret.
Yeah, I do as well. But,
there you go.
Yeah, and Mike Flanagan Trio with Jimmy Vaughn. So the legend Jimmy Vaughn will be there at Seaboy's Heart and Soul, which is a fun spot.
Also at Green Hall, where we were down there this weekend. Green Hall with Radney Foster, right, on Friday night?
Yeah, Radney will be there, and he's doing an anniversary tour for his Del Rio album, which was one of his first records. So that'll be a really good one, and He has sang "Nobody Wins" for the people that remember that one. That was a great song.
Randy Foster, great songwriter. He's written his own, but also has written a ton of hits for others out there in the country music scene. All right, into Saturday.
Yeah, another ACL taping on Saturday. Domi, and JD Beck. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I just learned about them, and it's a keyboard and drum duo that they have a lot of songs with Snoop, Anderson .Paak. I think Anderson .Paak found them, so it could be an interesting one to see.
All right, Antones has a good lineup on Saturday.
Yeah, this is the one I know Ty's going to be at. Little Flip and Lil Kiki, some Houston.
Oh, yeah. I've seen both of them.
You and Cameron Parker are going to be there at Antone's on Saturday night. Come on now.
Sure.
You
Let's
in.
do
Lil Flip, Lil Kiki.
Yep.
H-Town, baby. In the house. Continental Club on Saturday?
Yeah, Beatnik Bandits will be there. One of my favorite up-and-coming bands. They're from San Marcos, but they've been really getting some traction. They opened for Blue October. You guys will love them.
Beatnik Bandits. Love the name, too. Also back at Green Hall Saturday?
Yeah, speaking of ACL, the man who did the theme song, Gary P. Nunn, will be playing at Green. He did London Homesick Blues, which is still the theme for the show.
Very cool. Old school right there. Also Whitewater Amphitheater down there on Saturday?
Yeah, Colby Cooper with Pecos and the Rooftops, who both of those groups are really good up-and-coming country artists.
I can tell you that the water in the tubing area is low.
Oh, no.
Have been the reports.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, with the drought. So if you're
We need
going,
some
be
rain.
prepared.
We
Wear your swim shoes or whatever they call
My
those.
lawn needs
water
some rain.
shoes. Needs some rain, but always fun to float the river and then get into the whitewater and see some shows. Saxon Pub on Saturday.
Yeah, this one we'll be giving away tickets for it. Van Wilkes Trio's playing, and if you haven't seen Van, I know a lot of people. Like the laid back shows at the Saxon. Van just rocks. He wrote Drive By Lover for ZZ Top. He's toured with ZZ Top, Van Halen, a bunch of them. Just 100% worth your time to go watch that show.
Van Wilkes Trio Saturday night at Saxon Pub on South Lamar. Sunday, another big one at the big traveling show at the Moody Center.
Yep, more power pop, girl punk, Paramore with Foles and Linda's at Moody Center. And then on Sunday as well at Green Hall, Amanda Shires with Asleep at the Wheel. Amanda had done an album with Bobby Nelson, Willie's sister and piano player, before she passed, and they're gonna do kind of a live show for that in celebration of that, which will be really neat.
That is cool.
With Ray Benson and all the crew.
And Amanda Shires, of course, married to Jason Isbell, that Nashville power couple, but she has a great singing voice of her own and clearly can play the fiddle. Very talented, and obviously we know Sleep at the Wheel won 1 million Grammys. That's a great show. Green Hall Sunday night. A couple more on one Sunday and get us into Monday and Tuesday next week.
West 22nd will be playing at the Hole in the Wall, and they are my new pick for best up-and-coming Austin band. I would go see that. And this is your chance to see them before people really know about them.
22nd.
It's really, really cool. There are a couple of 4 or 5 19-year-old kids that met at UT, and they're really cool.
All right, and that's Hole in the Wall. Everybody knows what that is on Guadalupe. Also Monday with another ACL taping.
Yep.
Legend.
Tanya Tucker of Delta Dawn fame will be doing a taping.
Legend in her own right, for sure. And then one more on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday's a little light, but always just go to the White Horse and see one of their bands, and they have the Mellows playing, which is some old school country.
There you go. Nick Shuley, the 411, the deets, as the kids say, on where the best shows are this week and weekend. Green Hall, from New Braunfels to downtown Austin to Saxon Pub. And we're going to give away a pair of tickets to which show?
To Van Wilkes Trio.
All right, and rock. If you like some good old rock and roll,
Saxon Pub.
Saxon Pub Saturday night. Van Wilkes Trio will give away a pair of tickets because that's the rule. You and a guest. You and a guest.
That's the law.
That's our law.
That's the law.
How about what caller number do you want there, Ty? Caller 4 at 447-3776. We'll pick up those tickets. We'll come back. Jeff Howe will drop some potential breaking Longhorn basketball scoop on us before Light the Tower. That's coming next. All right, so keep an eye on the door there because Jeff Howe says he's got some intel on some Longhorn hoops developing news. We do know the Longhorns had a great weekend on the football recruiting trail. We kind of predicted going into the weekend that there could be activity, and as we expected, the Longhorns did well. Steve Sarkisian added actually 5 prospects over since we did a show last. I should say it's 5 or 4 because we told you on Friday about the offensive lineman from North Richland Hills out there outside of Fort Worth, Daniel Cruz, 4-year starter at the varsity level. Projects as a big-time interior offensive line prospect for the Longhorns. Daniel Cruz came in, and then Lucas, Texas, the high school is Lovejoy, the 4-star wide receiver Parker Livingstone, and then Duncanville defensive lineman and Longhorn legacy Alex January, and then IMG Academy defensive back, a safety named Jordan Johnson Rubell, I think it's Rubell, all committed. And then yesterday, the tight end from Houston, Langham Creek, down there in the northwest Houston area. Jordan
Is the legacy
Washington.
kid a 300-pounder?
Alex January?
Is he a big dude, isn't he?
Well, that's Jeff when he rolls in here, but I think so. Yeah, and his father played football at Texas. That's a cool name, Alex January. But yes, Duncan. And the important thing for me with these Duncanville prospects is just
keeping it going.
Yeah, South Dallas. South Dallas. You really want to be. That's where you want to be if you're. And Texas has really. They struggled at times in South Dallas, and obviously that's South Oak Cliff, that's Duncanville, that's those power programs along I-20, and the Longhorns have made inroads. And obviously Alex January has a teammate named Colin Simmons, who is the number 1 defensive rush end prospect maybe in the country. So that continuing to do well, the recruiting front continues to roll. So those are important, and the IMG Academy, big too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think they got 3 kids committed in this 12-person class so far. So there we go. So we will follow those stories with 59 days until the Longhorn football game. I should also mention for our Texas A&M fans, because we know we have listeners, they had a big recruiting day yesterday too. They earned the commitment of a 5-star wide receiver from Phoenix City, Alabama, named Cameron Coleman, 6'3", 180.
It's one of the top in the nation.
Yeah, top 5 receiver. And the Longhorns are, on a receiver front, 24/7 Sports projected yesterday that a 5-star receiver named Ryan Wingo, who's from St. Louis, Missouri, he crystal ball projected him to Texas here in this cycle. Maybe this week he would become the 13th commitment, and he's a top 25 wide receiver prospect. Because remember, the number 1 receiver prospect in the state is Micah Hudson out of Temple. He's likely going to Texas Tech. That's all.
Yeah, you get into Missouri, you get into St. Louis, you're starting to dealing with those Big Ten schools.
Oh yeah. The Midwest.
Yeah.
That's the one thing for sure. This is going to be a national recruiting staff. They're going to, make sure they shore up as much as they can in the state of Texas. But you got to go where you got to go to find the best players, at least in this staff's mind, for sure. But but Jimbo Fisher's added 7 blue chip commitments in the past 2 weeks, and they're kind of on that same cycle for the Longhorns because we now know that Steve Sarkisian. The plan is to really hit the recruiting hard with big visits in the summertime, right? When these kids hit their summer break and you're back for summer workouts, you have these big June recruiting weekends. And certainly last year with the Arch Manning commitment that led to a ton that followed, this year they didn't have many when you started June, and now here we are on July 5th and they have 12.
Yeah, and by the way, coaches don't, during the season when you have these recruiting weekends during football games, it's hard on the coaches. You think it's hard on the kids where the kids don't get where coaches are thinking about the games and they're, you got a couple other kids here and, giving them quite that attention that, they love their attention. And you get them in the summertime, you got their parents here, there's nothing going on. You really can pay full attention to those players.
Yeah, no question. And they use that and
they do it well.
They roll out the red. And they do what they need to do at Texas, which is sell the whole thing, right? Sell Austin,
sure.
Sell the school. Sell the NIL opportunities. Obviously, you can't use inducements, but you can talk about what other how other players are doing as players here. But obviously the big picture brand, and it's something we talked about last week we had Diamante Tucker Dorsey in the house last week. He came in for a good visit last Wednesday, and he was talking about it's one of the things that sold him when he was transferring from James Madison was that the camaraderie within the staff he thought was really impressive, and then the selling of the entire package of what not just NIL dollars, but the big picture stuff, the people you can connect with at the University of Texas that can benefit you big picture, which led to the conversation about his new career in real estate because he met Gary Keller from Keller Williams Realty and, has been a mentor to him, and he's off to the races with a real estate career. So they sell that, and that's what June is about. And I'm sure down at College Station, Jimbo Fisher is on the same track, and Jimbo Fisher's problem hasn't been recruiting, right? And
no, it's the stability of his program.
And wins and losses and winning games and, building. And, that's where Steve Sarkisian is right now. It's not about talent acquisition anymore for Sark. It's about winning. I mean, I think anybody looks at it, when we get to Big 12 Media Days next week, they'll have the preseason predictions, right? The media predictions on first, second, third place, Big 12 champions, all Big 12 teams. I got to think, Texas will be right up there with Kansas State as the favorites to win the Big 12. So it's not – you got enough players now, I think in year one with Sark, you probably could have said, this thing needs to clean house and identify the ones who are on board and move on from those that aren't. And that's where Sark and the staff have turned over the roster in 3 off seasons. And now it's time to go win.
Yeah, because you have all the means.
Yeah.
You've got all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And the same thing for Texas A&M. There's just something that's still, I don't know what it is, but Jimbo will have to find that out this year. What is it that's missing there? There's something in that program.
Has it ever been there though? I feel like something's always been missing.
It had to go back for quite a ways when it was just that was it. It was kind of the it place. They were getting really good players. They had really good camaraderie. There's something that's within that program that's that's pulling kids in different ways.
It feels kind of the same as it did when Jimbo at the end of his Florida State.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it just wears on you.
Well, and that's the thing with Jimbo, right?
But it never got good there with Jimbo. You know what I'm saying? Never got good at Texas A&M with him.
No. And obviously Jimbo took over for Bobby Bowden and won a national championship with Jameis Winston, but that's 10 years ago now.
Right.
And, Aggie fans would tell you that the offense he runs is the same offense he was running back then. He hasn't evolved with the changing face of offensive football.
Right. I mean, that message gets to be the same old message.
Well, and the other thing is when they hired him, gave him the 10-year deal, the $75 million, the idea was he was one of the few coaches that had been to the mountaintop, right? He won a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're trying to do in the SEC. But he was a fading coach at Florida State, and he would tell you it was because of facilities and they didn't put enough money into the football program.
Right. Well, they got enough money into the program.
But it was a declining program under Jimbo even then. And so the fact that he's come here to Texas A&M and it hasn't hit yet. He's had some decent years. He's had some big wins, beat Alabama, which is very difficult to do. But at the same time, last year was really a warning sign with
kids don't respect the program. I mean, that's
to Appalachian State and home loss and just this looked in disarray. The smoking in the boys' room conversation and a lot of off-field stuff, a lot of suspensions. It just you got to get that.
Well, you've got rid of half your football team.
Yeah, and so again, I mean, Jimbo's in year 6.
That's what I mean. You're still getting rid of your football players.
Yeah. Sark is going into year 3, and this is a kind of a prove-it year. Because at the end of the day, Sark is what his record is. He's just over a 500 career head football coach, and he's got to change that narrative because we know there are reasons for that. He inherited a rebuild at Washington when he took over there from an 0-12 team. So by the time he had it to where it was a winning program, then he was off to USC.
Then he had some things in his life happen,
and he had personal issues at USC, which derailed any chance he had there. And, of course, back with Alabama. So, his career record is not one of those that is dazzling. And even at Texas, he's 5-7 and 8-5. So it is time to put a championship caliber season on the field to prove that, okay, this is the right guy.
When you've got a really good staff, you've got a great recruiting base, you've done well in the recruiting part, you've got an administration that's all together, it's that time now.
Yeah. It is. And it's a Big 12, as we will find out next week at Big 12 Media Days, it's a winnable conference.
Yes.
Every team has questions. I mean, the team with the fewest questions right now is Texas. Now K-State is probably 1A on that conversation with the championship from a year ago. You're back with your quarterback. Chris Kleiman's a great coach. Your whole offensive line is back. But they have to replace Deuce Vaughn and Felix Anyuduke Uzoma and Josh Brents.
That's true. They got people to replace.
They got dudes to replace. And so there you go. Before we get out of here and get to light the tower, look who it is. It's Jeff Howe making his run up the elevator. What's up there, Jeffrey?
It's big if I'm here early.
It is. It is. So what is big and breaking at the university?
Tyrus, can I get a breaking news sounder, please, sir? There we go. Ithiel Horton, grad transfer from UCF, on his official visit right now, visiting Texas. when you talk about what this team needs to get them kind of on track with where they were last year, I think this guy's the missing piece. Prolific three-point shooter, but this guy's a well-rounded player. He can score off the bounce, can really, really finish off this backcourt nicely. You look at what they've done. Tyrese Hunter coming back. You got Max Asmus coming in from Oral Roberts. You brought in a guy in Kendall Weaver from UTA. But last year everything kind of revolved, and you looked at the way the offense flowed. Everything revolved around kind of that big three with Marcus Carr, Tyrese Hunter, and then Timmy Allen. I think you can have that this year. As good as the front court is, I think you can have that this year with Tyrese Hunter coming back, Max Asmus, who, by the way, I keep saying it, is the active leading Division I scorer. And then Ithiel Horton, again, I just love his game.
Yeah, I saw him play last year.
Yeah, love his competitiveness.
6'5", too.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, and this is a guy, again, that just really, really could be the missing piece for this program. I love the way this staff is recruited. I mean, they've been patient. They've been waiting for their guy to pop